Hi.
That was weird. I don't know. Did it stop? It stopped for me. Full disclosure, I'm having some wicked storms going on here in the high desert of New Mexico. So sorry, apologize for that. But that's what happens when you go live and things just go weird sometimes. But that being said, hello and welcome to another Sunday chat. And I've got my buddy Skid Mark here. And speaking of buddies, since we're talking Haslabs tonight and all things larger scale toys, who else to have on to hang out and talk Haslabs with me but the old white potato himself?
What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. Did that intro just freeze?
It was playing fine, and then it just stopped.
Okay, because on my end it looked like it froze, but
Okay.
again, I'm having weird storms, so
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. What's new? What's up? How you been?
Nothing. Just I uploaded a video today for the first time, I think in months.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. That's really cool.
I don't upload a lot of videos, but 3POA is pretty much a live stream channel. But
Yeah, right.
occasionally I'll do something.
I like that video. It was about the Batmobile.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. My buddy Suka, he 3D printed a pretty nice conversion kit to convert it to a 2-seater like it should be.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I did.
Very cool. So everybody hanging out with us, if you haven't seen Ryan's video, please go check it out because it's really good. It's a good video.
Later, not right now.
Yeah, not now.
Yeah.
Later.
Mhm.
Do it when do it when Hella Dope's on.
Yes. There you go.
Oh, wait. Do
Oh.
it after Hella.
Shh. He's here. He's listening.
Yeah. Sorry, Ted. Yeah. Do it later.
I love that goat.
Oh man, I do too. I like that goat because he drools. You know, he screams
Mhm.
while he's doing it. But yep, shot fired. And Skyfall says, I put more cayenne pepper in my food because of Friday. And Friday, Jay and I did that hot food thing. And
Wait,
we
I
reviewed
missed it. What did you eat? What? Oh, the bomb. That stuff is
Yeah.
gross.
And we didn't even build up to it. We just went straight to this.
It's super hot, but like it's nasty. Like there's really hot sauces that I like.
Yeah, that one
But-
it tastes like coal or wood. It's
like-
very woodsy.
Yeah, it's like acid.
Yeah. Drew just said, that's what she said. Right.
Mm.
I guess I gotta play it.
That's what she said.
You know, whatever. So tonight we're going to talk about Haslabs. And we got a lot of awesome people hanging out with us. So thank you all for being here. We see you all for sure. Yeah. But oh, look at this. Look.
Oh, come on, Ted.
That's all right. Go
Come
ahead.
back, Ted.
I dare you, dude. Do it. Yeah. Man, I've been clocking a lot of subs lately. It's nuts. I don't know. Ever since I did the video on this freaking thing right here, like the algorithm loved me and I just blew up. But
I've noticed. Yeah, your channel was growing quickly. That's awesome, man. Congrats.
yeah, and I appreciate that. But I don't know. I like the fact that the custom thing kind of spoke to people. You know what I mean? Like it really it really helps some people understand that, like, yeah, I can make that stuff myself. You know, I don't
Mhm.
I don't need any fancy things. And then like Matt Noon's here and he said, Chad finally able to finish your Missile Command Center video, learned a lot. Really cool how the old and new 1/18 scale pieces fit nicely. Yeah. So, and that was the whole reason why I did it. And I was glad that that kind of caught on with people because it wasn't like, oh, look at how skilled I am. I can do all this fancy stuff. It was like, look, man, I'm dumb and anybody can do this. Like, just get some spray paint and have some fun.
Yeah.
And since we're taking this back, we're taking back first, and Drew was first. So congratulations, Drew. Yep.
Right on, man.
Bringing back first. Bringing that back. So Haslabs, right?
Yep.
The whole original idea for a HasLab being a crowdfund, and you ready?
Ready.
Boom.
Oh,
What is up, guys? What's going
up,
on?
dude?
I didn't think I was gonna make it in time. Thank you, thank you.
what's up, man? What's up,
What's
Ninja?
good, bro? I didn't think I was gonna make it, man. I didn't know. I thought it was gonna be more like around 7:38. I'm glad I made it early.
I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you.
All right, so I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead. You was about to lay down the foundation. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. So I was, it's the introduction piece of my my thesis.
Okay.
So, HasLabs were designed, and you guys correct me if you think that I'm wrong, or if you feel I misspeak. HasLabs were originally designed as a model for selling items that were so amazing, so fantastical, so huge, and so expensive that retailers wouldn't stock them because they didn't have the store shelves. They were going to be so pricey that the retailers wouldn't want them, and that's kind of the original idea for the HasLab model, correct? Yes, no?
Yes, dream projects. I think is what the
Dream.
term they used.
Yeah. Did they use that term with the sail barge? I think it was like, yeah, basically exactly what he said, but dream projects. Yeah.
So I have the Hasbro Pulse HasLab page where fans come first. And it says our crowdfunding platform that hopes to bring dream products into the hands of fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the super fantastical stuff, right?
Right.
Right.
Originally, you know what? I'm gonna put me on the bottom because nobody's here to see me. Look at that. Originally, we got the Kitana, correct? That was the very first one out of the gate.
That's the first one, 2018. Yep.
Okay. So for anyone hanging out with us who has not seen this vehicle / playset, right? Because that's exactly what it is. It's impressive, right? The box is over 5 feet. It's a very large item. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Do either of you have the Kitana?
No, I thought about getting it, but that was right after I kind of stopped collecting the scale,
Yeah.
and so I just decided. I mean, first $500 that's a lot of money, for a toy, and so that coupled with the fact that I was moving away from the smaller scale, I was out.
Yeah. Ninja, do you have any input on the Kitana?
You're muted.
My bad. Sorry about that. Nah, I don't have it, so I don't really want to say too much about it because I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't have it. I've seen it up close. Like I put my hands on it. I will say it's impressive.
Oh yeah,
just like
it's an amazing toy.
Yeah, and like Suka says, the barge was an actual dream project, and that's kind of where we're aiming this conversation is. Are all of these HasLabs worthy of the dream project moniker, or are some of them kind of not?
I think for sure maybe the first few were. Yeah.
Big Bacon says if Cookie Monster was first, the concept would have died at the gate.
You're right.
That was a big swing and a miss for them. Yeah.
It's actually not even on here.
No.
It's not even there at all.
Mm-mm.
So obviously we're going to kind of move around a little bit, but since the Kitana or the sail barge was the very first dream project out of the gate, and I definitely agree that it was impressive. It was worthy of kind of the HasLab model, and I understand that. A lot of people like to say, well, risk versus reward, and that's just how business works. New Coke sucked. They had to go back to Coke. The Ford Pinto, Pepsi Clear, whatever. There's always going to be risk with business. But when you're looking at something like this item, and I'm going to click on it, hopefully my stuff doesn't explode. You know, when you're looking at something like this item, yeah, I would say that this is. See, look at my internet's just the wind.
It's all right.
But yeah, that's definitely kind of a dream project right there.
I mean, it was almost 4 feet long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It said when he scrolled down, it said like 49 inches in length. It was like the measurements were right there. It's just ridiculous. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, complete with 3 decks. Sail barge was primarily used to transport passengers, yada, yada, yada. 26 crew members. Yeah, measuring
Look at that,
approximately
49.
4 feet long, this vast vehicle is a dream item for any Star Wars collection, designed to captivate and inspire. Vintage collection Jabba sail barge, a.k.a. the Kitana. Yep. Fan-accessible decks that complement 1/18 scale figures, not included. Yeah. Total length, 49.35 inches, width, almost 15, and height, 17 to the top of the sail. So,
And
kinda
you know
one of
that
those
thing is
things.
still actually underscaled when it
It
comes
is.
to how big the katana would be at
Yeah.
a 3 3/4 inch scale.
well, yeah, it's like the flag. Like they're
Right.
impressive vehicles, but when you really look at them, you're like, no. Yeah. It's the
I mean,
same
how
thing
big
with
would a
that.
how big would a flag be at 3 3/4?
Oh, it would be ridiculous, man.
It would be
It's-
like the
it's-
size of your whole garage.
Yeah, it's totally a city. But even that Cobra mothership, scale's one of those weird things. Like when we all look at the Millennium Falcon, you know, barring the legacy, 4-seat cockpit version, but just the old school, 2-seater Millennium Falcon,
Mhm.
they scaled it well to where it still worked as a vehicle, it still worked as a playset. You had the interior spaces, you could only fit 2 in the cockpit, and they made some concessions, but looking at the Millennium Falcon versus, say, the Cobra mothership, they scaled that thing down so much that it just looks like a hubcap or a frisbee, even though
Salad bowl.
it's large.
Yeah.
It's not that tall though. It's only 7 inches tall from the bottom to the top. Like when I was on 3POA with you, Ryan, and we were talking about it. But yeah, that's the Kitana. Let me take a look at the chat and see what all these people are saying. Oh, Blue Serendipity says I miss clear Pepsi.
I remember
you, though?
Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, Crystal Pepsi.
If you were the kid in the lunchroom with Crystal Pepsi, you were like the cool kid that day.
Yeah. Yeah, Omega 579 calls it the Cobra toilet seat cover. I could see that. Yeah. Logic Blasters here. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you're doing well, dude. Nobody's really talking about the Kitana except for that one that I commented on. Oh, Drew G says the sail barge was, all the Transformers, Sentinel, and Joe stuff was not. No. Well, let's we can move on. Suka says, I think the BMF is the best example of toy scale and model accurate design blending. What is BMF?
Big Millennium Falcon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Legacy or whatever.
The Legacy, yep.
And the Legacy AT-AT too, that thing was impressive. And another good point. The Millennium Falcon was at retail.
Yeah. I had both of them at one point. Awesome vehicles.
And this guy would know. World Made of Cardboard says a correctly scaled USS flag would be over 73 feet long.
That's crazy.
No, thank you. 7 feet 4 inches is more than enough of a playset. So let's talk about this guy, Ryan. I know you have this Ninja. Do you?
Yes.
Okay. You guys want to talk about the Sentinel? Pros, cons. I know there was a little bit of controversy about this guy.
So initially, I was very excited about it. This to me, like as a Marvel Legends collector for, at that point, almost 20 years, it was a no-brainer. Even though I wasn't a big fan of Hasbro doing a crowdfunding type thing,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I got to have this 26-inch tall Sentinel.
And it looks like a Sentinel. It doesn't look like those weird live action Sentinels. Like this is legit.
Right.
Like it just jumped right out. There it is.
Yeah. And so, they start hyping it up and you see the prototypes and they have it on display at the cons and all that. And I'm like, no brainer, man. And so I started selling a bunch of stuff in my collection that I didn't really want anymore, so I could buy all 5. Because, it was limit 5. Now, you could actually make several transactions and buy as many as you want, right? But it was 5 per transaction.
Yeah.
And I think that's for the credit card companies. But Yeah, I sold enough because I didn't want it. I didn't want it coming out of my budget or my paycheck. I was like, if I'm going to make a ridiculous, stupid purchase like this, it's got to come from within the collection. And so I sold a bunch of stuff off, and I did buy 5 of them. I still have 3. I kept 3. But you know, a year later, people start getting these in, and I'm waiting, and people were getting them in like a month before mine shipped. So that whole month, I'm like dying. I'm like, shit, my Sentinels, man, because you can see they printed out the shipping labels all on the same day for everyone, right?
Right.
But it takes time to ship all those out. I think my 5 are like the last ones to ship. Well, in the meantime, people are doing reviews on them. They're pulling them out of the box, and their legs are just sloppy, floppy, man. You know, weak hips, weak knees. This one guy did a live unboxing, and he's setting it on the table, and the Sentinel just starts doing the
fell
splits.
Over. Yeah.
You know? And then Robo puts out a video where he pops the cover and he tightens a screw, and that seems to tighten up the knees. Well, there's nothing you could do for the hips.
Okay.
Right? And you can only tighten a screw on these things so many times. You know, if you're posing it around a lot, they'll get loose again. You tighten them too much, it's plastic, it strips. So when I got mine in, I open one up, I pull it out, and sure enough, the legs floppy. And I'm like, oh God. And it soured me on the whole experience. And so I had the other 4 in the box for months and months and months. I only opened one. I eventually got to the rest, and I sold 2 of them. But there was no recourse. You know, people were asking Hasbro what they were going to do. They're like, if you're not happy with your purchase, return it. Return it at your expense.
Yep.
You pay to ship that big bastard back to us, and we'll refund your $350. Which, oh man, that pissed me off. And that was kind of, to me, that was the real birth of the Hasbro. These people that just will fight tooth and nail to defend their overlord. You know, this company that doesn't give 2 shits about them. Right. That's when I really started getting soured on the whole thing.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to move over to the Sentinel, because I know that this was almost the start of how things started to change to everything that you were just talking about. Samuel Edwards says it's going to be about tree fitting. Ninja, what's your experience with the Sentinel?
Basically everything that Ryan said, but I would have to make a correction to one thing Ryan said. He said that there was no recourse or them addressing the knees or, you know, trying to rectify the situation at all. And there was actually a video when they were promoting Galactus where they slapped the knees on Galactus. That's like the closest thing we'll get to a sorry or, hey, we know we effed up. That's probably the closest thing to any type of acknowledgement that we were going to get. And like you said, for me, that really ruined the entire experience, especially that, okay, so they're not going to give refunds. You know, if you ship it back, you got to pay for shipping, just a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, but to not even acknowledge the issue at all, other than it kind of looked like when they were slapping Galactus's legs, that they were making fun of another company. That's how bad it was. But they were literally making fun of themselves. Yeah. So for me, that kind of ruined a lot. But I loved my Sentinel, and I still do, even with the shitty knees. Yeah, that was basically my experience. It's everything that Ryan described to a T, except I think when he said what ruined it for me really was watching them slap Galactus's knees. That shit.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
I really got under my
they're
skin.
like trolling people.
Yes.
And just so people have an idea of how big this box was, I actually shipped one to the East Coast. Ooh. What do you think that cost?
140.
You're close. It was 125.
Ooh.
More than a third of the cost of this toy is what it cost for me to ship one.
Damn.
Yeah.
World Made of Cardboard says the $20 Walmart Kids Connection 24-inch robot has ratcheting knees. The Sentinel should have had ratcheting knees. So does it just become the situation with this thing where you can only put it in so many poses? Is that kind of the workaround?
So yes, like I said, you can pop the cover and tighten that screw. And there is ratchets in it. They're just really, really weak. They're like barely there in the knees, and there's nothing in the hips. So,
Gotcha.
I do have 2 of mine propped up very carefully, screws tightened. And
You
then
looked over like you were nervous.
I was.
just to
I was
make
like,
sure they're still standing.
I'm like looking at them. They're gonna fall, are you? And then I got one that's on the shelf, propped up next to the wall of the shelf, like kind of lean there.
Shortly while we're talking, you just hear.
They're heavy, man. Those things, like, you could hit someone over the head with that Sentinel and
they are.
cause some damage.
What's the weight on this thing?
13 pounds or something like that.
Sounds right.
Yeah, probably, because the Kitana said it was, what, 17 pounds?
14. The Kitana was
That's
14.
a huge bitch.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't. It's probably way down here somewhere. Whatever. It's heavy, right?
Yes.
26.3 inches, 72 points of articulation. 20 in each hand alone. I remember, like, and I'm not even a Legends collector or really that scale, but I remember they just kept harping on the POA in the hands just over and over and over and over.
Yeah. I mean, and that's fine. That's a cool feature. I like that, and it works for him really well because he's a robot.
Yes, and the size affords the articulation in the hands.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Storm in the hands of one of mine over there. It looks cool.
Yeah, Pendragon says, "What's the weight on this thing?" That's what she said. One thing I do have to mention before we move on, and I know we're going to get to it, but exactly what you said about your Sentinels, like you noticed there were QC problems, you only opened so many, etc. That was exactly me and my one and only HasLab experience, and that was the Sky Striker. Because the QC issues with the Sky Striker are widely known. Like, there was a lot of them.
I've heard rumors. I didn't buy one, and I didn't follow it too closely, but I heard it was kind of a nightmare.
I did. Suka, I see your comment on the Sky Striker. I'm gonna star it, and then we'll get to that in a second. Renato says, I find it funny how around the time the Sentinel was being offered, everyone, including some YouTubers, we're going to say some, not all, right? We're saying that the tiers were just extra. Now they fully admit they reflect the base price. Do you guys agree with that?
Man, they were free. They were free. It was all extras.
You're just throwing it in. It's free. Hasbro's such a great company. They just give you stuff for free.
They just give it to you.
That's so nice. It's like charity.
I really feel that, and it's just me, right? It's just a personal opinion because we all have them, right? If I don't feel that the base offering, when I just look at it, right? Look at this little picture right here. If I don't think that is worth the price, I don't care what else you tack on to the end of it. It's not going to make a difference to me. But that's me, and I know that some people, they think like, oh, I really want that wasp figure, and so.
Chad, you sound like a normal, well-adjusted, logical thinking human being. What are you doing on YouTube?
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
For the follow on.
Those are kind of rare nowadays.
On there. Logic Blaster says, I'm not too much of a fan of crowdfunding, but I did back the Ghost just because new Star Wars vehicles seem to be few and far between lately, and not much else is on my radar. I started this for a couple reasons. One, that's kind of the HasLab, let me draw you in. Yeah. And two, that's what got me with the Sky Striker. Almost 100%, that's what got me. Right? Mm-hmm. Vehicles seem to be few and far between and not much else on my radar. So I definitely needed to talk about that. And then we got a $5 super chat from our good friend World Made of Cardboard for Skidmark. So there you go, Skidmark. That's from World Made of Cardboard. Thanks, buddy. Skidmark appreciates it. What were the unlock tiers for the Sentinel? Did they all fund?
Everything was unlocked. In fact,
Lord.
Yeah, so it was the female Sentinel figure was an unlock. The female tier one,
Prime?
the tier one was what's his face?
That guy.
I don't even know. I just call it the
Yeah,
masterhead. Yeah.
the leader of the guy that makes the Sentinels, and Master Mold.
Okay.
Master
This dude?
Mold head. You had the battle damaged head and hand was tier 2. Tier 3 was the female Sentinel, and tier 4 was the Tri Sentinel head, which I think they kind of just threw. They kind of made that one up during the campaign because it was
Manny
going
faces. It looks like Manny
right,
faces.
right. That's the one they kind of made up during the campaign because it was going so well, right? And then after it ended, it had gone so high, way beyond what they expected, that they threw in an extra tentacle. So they actually did give us something for free, which, depending on how you look at that, they did, like, after
That's
it was
a good
completed.
point, man. I forgot all about that. I
Yeah.
forgot all
Tentacles?
about them throwing in a free tentacle.
Initially, it
Jeez.
only came with one. Yeah.
I forgot if you hover over this, it zooms in, and I just
I
kind
hate
of
that.
spazzed out there for a second.
Yeah.
I was trying to just move my mouse around, like, you mean this?
Right.
Yeah. Right on. That's cool. I dig that. Yeah, and then Big Bacon says it's all about perceived value. That's the thing about value, because there's, how do you perceive value? Some value is just intrinsic. It doesn't mean it's monetary. It just means it means something to you. It has value
Yeah.
to you. Aaron is asking, does the Master Mold head fit Galactus?
I've never tried.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
To be
doubt it.
determined. Yeah. Billy Go Boom is late, so you owe everyone punch and pie, but we'll worry about that later. Man of Action says they sucked me in with the Razor Crest. I won't participate in anymore. I thought it was okay. Well, let's go to the Razor Crest real quick. Ninja, did you get in on this?
Nope.
Me either.
It's not my skill.
Ryan?
No, not my skill.
See, it's my scale, not my IP.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, didn't they nuke this ship on the show like right after this sucker
Yep.
funded?
After I funded, yeah, they blew it up.
And
And
I know a lot of people kind of got wrapped around the axle about that. They said that was kind of a dirty pool. I don't really have an opinion on that, but if anybody in the chat wants to chime in on if you think that was cool or uncool, I mean, by all means, let us know. I'll throw it up.
As someone that didn't back it, it's easy for me to say it wouldn't bother me. Like, oh, I don't care. If the toy's cool and I liked it and I liked the show, and then I'd be happy to have it. And it is a cool toy. Like, it has a lot of cool features. I've seen it in person. It is really big. That's what she said. And
Hey!
yeah, I like the first season of The Mandalorian. I like that ship and everything. But
I guess.
I understand where they're coming from. Yes, if it's not going to be a long-lasting, more iconic ship. Now the defenders will say, "Well, they blew up the Katana." Well, yeah, but we knew that going in.
Oh, come on. They blew up the Katana in 1983. Get over
Right.
it. Like that,
Yeah. Yeah, that was 40 years ago. We saw that happen, so we knew that going in.
Yeah.
But this thing, the funding ends, and the very next episode of Mandalorian, they blow it up.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the chat are saying, like, yeah, it bothered me. Even
Yeah.
Pokey said, I strongly debated about pulling my funding after that episode, but the ship's pretty freaking awesome. So, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people were kind of bugged by that. Jay Valentine, I think the Razor Crest taught Hasbro the wrong lessons. If you want to expand on that, I will throw it up on the screen and we can discuss that for sure.
I think it's interesting you said it's your scale, but it's just not your IP. That makes me wonder. It depends on the collector too, because if you like to kit bash, like I love kit bashing on my channel,
Yeah.
I'm like, if this thing came out in 6-inch scale, not knowing nothing about the ship, or I would just want the vehicle painted black, do whatever I want to do with it. So I wouldn't care if it blew up, but that's just me being a customizer and loving a kit bash. Someone that is attached to the IP, I see why they would care that the ship blew up. They wanted it for what the show told them it was, not for what they wanted to make it.
Right.
Yeah, and everybody's going to have their own opinions because, like, 209 Ed says that they blow up all kinds of ships. I'm fine with it. I still like it.
Yeah.
Impossible Pie. I was disappointed they blew it up, but I still love the toy. Yeah, and it's supposed to be about the toy. But Ninja,
Right,
just like you were saying, I have the Juggernaut clone tank back there, and I do have a lot of Star Wars items that I customize into Joe stuff. But this is different. Like, I'm not going to buy this just to like tear it apart.
That's
and
that's what I
I'll kind
wanted
of
to
get
know.
into that a
Yeah.
little more. when we
Why
talk about
why
it.
or why wouldn't you? Okay.
I think as Star Wars fans, we see the Mandalorian as the new main character, and we're looking at the Razor Crest like this is going to be like the next Millennium Falcon. This will be like a character in and of itself,
Right.
like the Falcon became.
Right. And it was
Then they
it was
blew it up.
getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was totally that whole like she may not look like much, but she's got to where it counts, and
Yeah.
fastest hunk of junk and all that. It was getting there, because they were taking the time and showing episodes where he was like having it significantly repaired and such. Like, and even once he got that N1, he's like, "That's not a Razor Crest." He's just like, "Where's the Razor Crest?"
Like,
But,
I like that N1, but it doesn't really make sense for him.
no, not for a bounty hunter. The N1's a member berry. Hey, do you remember Phantom Menace? Hey,
Where's
you
he gonna
remember these
carry his
fighters?
bounty? Yeah, where's he going to carry his bounty at?
He's not.
Right.
He's not. So, whatever. All right, let's move on to this dude. Ninja, do you have him?
Nope, I do not.
Ryan,
I do.
let us have it.
It's great. It's great, man. Like,
There you go,
like
ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, they,
Like,
they
hey,
slapped the legs for him ahead of time.
Yep.
Of course it's great.
They
They
slapped-
slapped
yeah.
the legs. They
That's
showed
right.
them.
They were like,
Yep.
look, kids, ratchets. It's like, look at every Transformer ever. You would have known about ratchets if you just looked across the hall at the Transformers team and saw what they were doing.
got a
But,
little Reed Richards with him.
Yeah, I was almost. I mean, I do have like some minor little nitpicks about this Galactus, but overall, I think it's a great toy, great figure. My one main nitpick is that okay, he's a big giant dude, right? He towers over your other figures.
Yeah.
He can't really look down. His
No.
head doesn't have enough movement, right? It can kind of turn, but it can't really look down. You got to crunch him at the waist, and he's, well, you know, of course, he's really heavy. He's going to want to topple over if you do that. But not that big of a deal. But I think the toy came out really well.
I think it's interesting that you say that because, we're touting that he has 70 plus points of articulation, but he can't look down.
Not that head.
It's always all in the hands, man. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
she said. But yeah, it's just always the same thing with Giant Man. It's always they want to push the hands so damn much. It's all the art. Half the articulation is in the hands for all these figures.
And he has LED lighting in him?
Yeah, in his chest and his head.
Dude,
So-
that's crazy.
The batteries and everything are in his chest. Wait, no, I think there's batteries in his head too. But you push the button on his chest, and it has a what is the old remote technology called? The line of sight, the TV remote, the old school, not Bluetooth, but whatever
IR?
it was. Huh? Yeah, IR,
IR,
infrared.
yeah.
Yeah. So it sends an IR signal from his chest up to his head to turn that light on too. So his chest lights up, and then his eyes and head light up.
That's, I'll say that's pretty cool. That's actually
It is,
pretty cool.
yeah.
And I don't know if you guys caught it, but Drew G answered the question about are the heads interchangeable, and he said one is like a clip and one's like ball joint. So no.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Everybody's chiming in. IR, infrared, yeah. Suka says he can give the shocker. It's premium, guys. So can he do this? Can he?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Very cool. And then he came with what? Reed Richards? I don't even see his.
No, he came with 3 of his heralds. So the first unlock was, I think it was Nova, and then Silver Surfer, and then Morg, and then they also unlocked the stupidest unlock of any HasLab ever. I've never seen anyone use this thing. It's the Dr. Doom head for Galactus, which I've been told.
Oh, it's up here. Sorry, go ahead.
I've been told, because I never saw it before, but I've been told that look when Dr. Doom took his power was in one panel of one comic book.
Yeah.
That's it. So there you go. Yeah.
And that's kind of the balance on these deep cut things.
Right.
Are they good? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Are they not?
No.
I know that with the Dragonfly they did Glenda, and that's kind of where I was really solidifying my theory. Again, it's a theory, and it's not as an insult. That a lot of 112 Joe people aren't Joe people because they didn't know who Glenda was. And I'm like,
Guilty.
Yeah, right.
That's me.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But you're also not really a Joe guy, right? Like you
Right.
admit it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, me
Glenda
too.
from Estrella is one of those deep cuts. When I saw Glenda, I was like, it's brilliant. A, it's a deep cut. B, there's your retro Scarlet mold right there, and the crowd just paid for it. It's smart business. I'm not going to knock it, but
And I said this something similar when they showed Glenda. I'm like, this does make sense because it's gonna please the hardcore fans who know who the hell she is,
Yep.
right? Otherwise, you're not going to get her. They're not going to put a Glenda out at retail for her to peg warm next to Lady
No.
J. You know, they're
and they completely put out Glenda for the deep cut nerd effect
right.
and to reuse that mold.
Yeah, exactly.
that's it.
I think it was a smart move on that one.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, there's your
That stupid Dr. Doom head. They
Dr.
should have made that tier Airwalker because that guy he's ridiculous looking.
that's your Dicker
it would have
Von
been
Doomcock.
Yeah, Airwalker would have been a lot of new tooling, and they should have squeezed him into that instead of the Doom head.
We have a $10 super chat from Brandon R, aka Santa Brandon. Thank you very much, Brandon. He says, "Well, actually, Chad, the Tango Sierra Oscar Papa 38238 infrared module is one of my go-tos for microcontroller projects. Actually, thank you. Thanks, Brandon. Greatly appreciate that. All right, cool. And then here's a question. I don't know if this is too early, but whatever. Impossible Pie asks, which HasLab do you think had or has the best bang for your buck, including all unlocks? It's a good question. Ninja?
I think for me personally, and it's funny because the one that I'm going to say looks like it has the most bang is one that I didn't get, which is the sail barge. And I think the sail barge, for a lot of people, that's the original comparison that, hey, this shit isn't living up to dream projects.
Yeah.
I didn't get the sail barge. I wouldn't get it. But if I'm just looking at it from an overall, like just a viewer perspective, I'm like, wow, like all of these things, like if I got my grandma who doesn't care about none of this shit, if she had to look at all of these things, I think especially in person, if she's seen the sail barge in person, she'd be like, holy shit, wow, this thing is amazing.
I absolutely agree with you where you said it's the Kitana is the metric. Like when you look at like the ridiculous dream projects, maybe because it was the first, also because of its size, the fact that it was never produced. I completely agree. Ryan, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's okay. I was gonna say I'd probably go with Unicron.
Yeah,
Because
a lot
that
of people
thing is-
love that Unicron, man.
It's massive. And what did that thing cost? I think that was 500 too, wasn't it? But just the amount of engineering that goes into something that big and intricate,
Yeah,
transforms.
They did one of the speed build videos for the Unicron, like they did with the Sentinel, and it looked beautiful, especially in like the planet mode. It was like huge, like.
It's massive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it took that dude 30 minutes to transform it.
Not for me.
It would take me 30 days.
I feel like I would have to get two. If I was wealthy enough, I would get two just to leave them in their respective things because I'm not transforming shit for 30 minutes.
Robot and then planet eating mode. Yeah, and in a robot mode, he's 27 inches tall. It's 50 points more than 50. Like, why don't you just say, like, quantify it? Is it 53? Is it 57? Like, more than 50 points of articulated ninja. Hey. And then in planet devouring mode, it's 30 inches in diameter. That's what she said. Yeah. I thought the Unicron was a pretty good one. Now Unicron had been put out before, but it was always kind of I don't see the price anywhere.
It doesn't
on
say
here.
the price there. They're hiding it.
I'm sure somebody knows how much it was.
Yeah, it's probably about 500.
Oh, look at this. JLS says 174 watching. Awesome job, Chad. Hit that like button, folks. That's these dudes, but yes,
Nice.
Thank you very much.
No, it's not me. Nobody knew. I was a surprise. That's all Ryan.
Still you, Doug. And Ryan. Yeah. Oh yeah. Jason says Unicron was 500.
Okay. Yeah, the most expensive ones I see nowadays at retail are 200.
Okay, so let's So they cost 200 now.
Like the one, what was it? It's at Ross right now for 60. It's the Arc. They turned the Arc into a Transformer. That one was 200, and I saw it several times at Target. But yeah, that's the most expensive one I've seen at retail.
So this thing, $500, over 27 inches tall in robot mode, over 30 inches in diameter in, devourer mode. The Cobra mothership is $500. 550. What was it with shipping and everything, Ryan? Like 650 something?
For me, it would have came to 650. Yeah.
Yeah, same. This is where we talk about like what's worth the price. And again, worth and value have different meanings to different people.
Right.
I kind of like the Cobra mothership, but again, I always go back to that one comment that I got on my video that it's HasLab price at reaction quality. And I can't fault that comment. To me, that was the most quantifiable comment that I got.
Isn't it cool when we get like random comments that stick with us forever because they're just so damn accurate?
Yeah, I was like, I could have just turned on the camera and said, HasLab prices at reaction quality. Click, turned it off.
Exactly.
Made it short. Okay. Let's move on. Jason says, it didn't fund initially and then extended the funding period. That's true. They did with Unicron.
Yeah, for I think a few weeks.
They extended the Dragonfly too.
That's right. They did for a couple days or something. Or
yeah, something like that. Whatever. Well, yeah, then Man of Action says that's a good comment. It perfectly sums it up. I agree. I thought that was all that needed to be said. But
I mean that mothership looks cheap to me. It looks like a reaction product. So.
They just scaled it down too much. It was impressive that they tried to do the Cobra mothership, but you could have done the Cobra air carrier. You could have done the vertical takeoff plane with the snake head. There's a million other things you could have done rather than a giant flying saucer. Let's talk about this guy.
Well, this one hurt my heart. I love Star Wars. I mean, the original trilogy, of course, especially, right?
Right.
Nothing really within the last few years, but I wanted a 6-inch Rancor so bad. It was probably my number one want from Black Series. And I would have justified it if the character unlocks were better than what they offered.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't there, and I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't pull that trigger.
Let me hit this real quick.
Sure.
So Jim Smith says Dragonfly was 24 hours, but was already fully funded. It was extended for that 24 hours because the app and the website had different dates. Okay, fair enough. It was a correction. There you go. Impossible Pie is wondering what was the price of the Rancor.
$350.
$350.
Yeah.
That monster needs about $3. I ain't giving no Loch Ness monster no $350.
If it came with 4 figures, I would have justified it to myself, right? $250 for a Rancor, $100 for figures, right? But it didn't.
Is that not enough for you? Look at that manly ass chest. Is that not enough for you?
Look at that dad bod, baby.
Bro. I feel like I'm looking in a mirror, but if he was included from the get-go, that would have been great. But he wasn't. They threw him in at the end because they knew it wasn't going to fund. And they were trying to bring more people in to get it to fund, and it was like, oh, so this was always in the budget, but you weren't going to put it in because you were going to see if you can get away with not including it and selling it later for a little bit more. I was like, screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah. So like 49er Brian says no Ula or Rancor keeper, and then even Suka says I would have backed the Rancor if it had come with Ula and Leia.
Thank you. Like. Ula is a no-brainer. She was the first one in the pit. She was the first one to get eaten by the Rancor.
Yeah.
You have to put her in. And people are like, oh, Disney wouldn't let them. Or guess what? Get over it if you want my money. Put the green lady in a bikini. Nobody cares except for one weirdo dude at Target who complained because his daughters were with him that Leia had a bikini on.
Oh, God, that whole controversy thing.
Nobody cares except
And
that
that guy
one guy.
pontificated forever about that stupid shit. And that's the
Because
whole
he's
thing
a
about
pussy.
Slave Leia. Like, okay, so they changed her name to Hut Slayer. They changed the Slave One to Boba Fett's fire spray, whatever.
Yeah. Can we just say it? That guy that created that controversy, he's a pussy, and he shouldn't be allowed to have children.
Yeah,
It's also beneficial to Hasbro because they love to play the card that collectors are, or majority of the collecting community, they act like a kids. So it's like they don't want to admit that it's adults that is the majority of the collecting community. So gotta be careful if we show cleavage. Gotta be careful, like, dude. And if anything, direct to consumer online orders, this is the place to do it. This is the place to show cleavage.
Yeah.
So
right. There's no
because
kids saying,
this isn't a kid walking in a store where their parents going to be like, "Don't look at that," and covering their eyes. And it's the same thing, Ninja, like you just pointed out. The thing about Ula, or whatever you want to call that Leia, Hut Slayer, Slave Girl, she's Slave Girl Leia, is the exact same shit with Hooded Cobra Commander. Well, we don't want to do him because Lorenzo Di Bonaventura said some dumb shit, and we shy away from controversy. It's like all these people who buy this shit are 40-somethings. They know that that's just his like pal around the Silent Temple headgear. Like, it's not anything stupid, but they just don't want to do it. And World Made of Cardboard says Rancor should have been at retail. And
yes,
I use that kind of argument that Chaz the Guru and I were kind of talking about this, and it wasn't an argument. It was just more of a discussion. Like, it was over Giant Man. So, like, if Giant Man doesn't fund, the people who really wanted it to fund get nothing, and they get $0 earned. And I know they don't have to put all the tooling budget and whatever into it, but then nobody gets it.
Right.
If Giant Man, and I use the Rancor as an example, like there were a lot of people that I believe, even though I'm not a Black Series guy, I'm not a 1/12 scale guy, but I know that if this sucker was in stores in that black box, people would have bought it.
Oh yeah, you kidding me? Look, they got the Mattel Jurassic Park like Brontosaurus. The thing is 48 inches long when you put the tail and the head on, right? You can't tell me that this Rancor wouldn't have fit in a box and put on the shelf. It's a HasLab because they can make a lot more money doing a HasLab.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way.
Right.
There's no way Target's going to take these massive dinosaurs and not take a Star Wars Rancor, an original trilogy item. It would sell.
Yeah. Even the people that, like myself, that's not attached to this IP like that or this character, because literally if I just swap the head out, 3D printing and sculpting, and I have any dinosaur, creature, dragon, whatever I want it to be, I can make it. So just off of sheer size alone and the possibilities with this thing, it would have been in my collection without a doubt.
Heck yeah. I mean, there was a lot of complaints early on, and I'm not arguing with no one that the Rancor doesn't look good. It just, it's too dark, that the skin tone or something's too dark, or the black shading's not done well enough. To me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think it looks great.
Yeah, that's one of those things, like I would just go, looks good to me, whatever.
It looks like the Rancor to me. And
talking about the whole crowdfunding and making money and things like that, and why is it beneficial to make it a HasLab versus put it in, say, Target? 9,000 backers at $350 is $3,150,000 sitting in a bank earning interest until that thing has to go into production.
Yeah,
that is the bottom line of HasLab. Just
people don't want to believe that, though. People don't want to believe that. Okay, keep going, but people don't want to believe that.
Yeah, no, they don't want to believe it, but when you get down to brass tacks, it's no risk, reward plus interest. And if they don't want to go for it, then they don't want to go for it. But it's just kind of one of those things. Jim Smith says he didn't like Leia in a bikini. He better not walk down the Barbie aisle. Yeah, pretty much.
That's a good point.
Yep.
And then Impossible Pie said, if Rancor had under boob, I would have bought it. There's a little under boob going on there.
I mean, look at the backer count. Look how close they were. There's people that weren't even aware of this, right? This online toy crowdfunding thing, that if they walked down the toy aisle, they would have bought it, right?
Yeah, man.
And it wouldn't have been $350 either. It would have been a lot cheaper in the Target aisle.
Yeah, here's a great comment from Sean Forrester with Private Hudson. That's a great avatar. The cardboard backing and the bag of bones wasn't enough for folks.
God, they
Yeah,
got
that pissed a
roasted
lot
so
of
hard
people
over
off,
that,
man.
man.
It did. It really, really did. There was one comment up here about the chat's going fast. And again, I thank all of you for being here and hanging out with us. But
You're almost at
somebody
200
left a
people.
comment. What's up?
You're almost at 200 people watching.
I know. If we hit 2, that's going to be a new milestone for me. But
We'll save that in case you hit 200.
okay, yeah, let's save it. Get 80 or 4. Now it's 4 people.
Share the
This
link,
is a
people.
comment. This is a comment right here. Another comment from Sean. The lack of decent tiers on the Rancor is why I didn't back it.
Same here.
And again, this kind of goes back around to that discussion that just because I Oh, 200.
Is it your first time, Chad? Is this your first time?
This is
That is awesome.
it's my first time.
That's what she said.
You popped your 200 cherry.
Oh, I did. Oh, it feels so girly and dirty. It's great, man. Anyway, thank you all for being here and hanging out with the three of us. It's super cool. And again,
Hit the like
Ninja,
button.
I know you're busy later, but thank you so much for joining us, my man.
Man, I wish I could have came earlier. Don't worry, I'm gonna be back. This is such a chill time. I'm definitely gonna be back.
You were here like 3 minutes after we started. Like I started the intro. The intro froze on my end because I have shit weather going
Right,
on. I
right.
just jumped in and I was like, whatever, let's go.
Ryan's the superstar that brought over 200 people with him. I was a secret, so Ryan is the real superstar, and he walks around with his damn soundboard on his wrist.
I play it when I go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. But again, this comment, it kind of brings to light that just because I have the thought process of if I don't think the base offering's good enough, I'm not going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But this proves that that's not the case with everybody, and the majority of backers do want to see, those tiers make the whole thing worth it. And I don't fault anybody for that. I think it's actually pretty cool. AKA Storytime says first timer here. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Very, very cool. Yep. Anyway, so now we're gonna move on. Greg says Hasbro even admitted HasLab prices include all the tiers, even if it doesn't fully fund.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Those two guys were on video talking about
Yeah,
that. With
especially
the Giant
this go round with them, campaigning for Giant Man. It was like they said so much shit that can be used against them during their crowdfund for Giant Man. It's like you would think they're not thinking ahead, like about the future.
Yeah.
I mean, why not just keep holding back until the last day if you want it?
Don't know.
Just see if they
Yeah.
start adding in more.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of those things. So like Greg pointed it out, like they're included in the price, and even Suka says tiers are part of the cost, so they have to count.
Right.
I understand the whole hype machine, right? Like we gotta save some of it, and just kind of like trickle it out to keep people interested and keep the conversation going.
Yep.
So whatever this crowdfund item is, it stays relevant in the conversation. But I do firmly believe that the Rancor is one of those examples that if it wasn't a bag of bones, if it wasn't a freaking cardboard backdrop, if you said like we're doing Slave Leia, we're doing Ula, we're doing Malakili, aka Rancor Keeper, and whatever, even that
It was
let's
Gamorrean.
do Jedi Luke freaking one more time. There he is.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
It was like, how many times are you going to throw Jedi Luke at people?
And he never had his lightsaber at this point. He didn't have it until he was outside on the skiff.
Yeah, because it came out of R2's freaking dome.
Yeah.
Exactly. But this is kind of one of those things where you see this often where, they put out a modern retro 4-inch Snake Eyes, and to call that thing retro in the first place was a bad idea because everybody expected O-rings. And it's version 2 Snake Eyes on a version 1 card, and then you see stuff like this. You'd see with the Indiana Jones stuff, things that like, Michael was just destroying when they came out with that indie line, and he's like, why does he have this here and he doesn't have this, that, and all that stuff. It's not paying attention.
Yeah.
Raven Witch 66, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Says, greetings all. Sorry I'm late. It's okay to be late. And you owe Ninja Punch and Pie. Yeah. Yeah. And then Man of Action says, that's what you get when the hype man is making business decisions.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All screaming about selfie series, yo. V. Connolly sends a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. And says, HasLab are physical versions of video games having DLC. It's already part of the finished game.
Yeah, that's a good way to word it. Shout out to V. Conley too, man. But that is a good way to word it, man.
Now we're going to keep that one too. I'm going to put that in my pocket and save it. Very, very cool. And then Greg says the new R2 doesn't even have the saber in his dome.
You're right, it doesn't. That is a good R2, though, besides that.
Is it vac metalized at least?
No, but it's correctly scaled.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, like the R2 they've been putting out for years is super tiny.
We don't like them tiny.
No, we like them big and thick.
Yeah, I just couldn't let that one go.
Veiny.
JLS Comics, who also has a fantastic channel. If everybody hanging out here has not seen JLS Comics, please go check him out. Hasbro was valued at over $7 billion recently. It's down in the sixes now after that bad earnings report. So I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around Hasbro crowdfunding.
Thank you. I mean, they got, I think they got like 11 billion. They're worth 11 billion. They got in cash. And what you said the Rancor would have cost, it would have made him $3 million.
$3,150,000 earning interest until production. Yeah.
So they have multiple billions in cash, but they're asking for $3 million from collectors. Get at it. No, it's so aggravating.
Bro, you know the Hasbros, they're just going to say, oh, well, you don't really know how much they have. They might not have that, or they might. Okay. All right. Yeah. The point is the company's still valued at this, making these types of decisions. That's the point.
So,
like,
I made that video the other day about, Hasbro with the poor third quarter earnings, and they already said that their fourth quarter is going to be bad because of like soft holiday sales. Mm-hmm. But Mattel didn't post as much of a loss because the Barbie movie helped boost sales across everything Barbie. And I was just basically talking about how you look at how media, and I didn't even say current media, I just meant good media in general, right? The original Star Wars trilogy, you will always see figures like Vader and Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie. They will sell, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's OT stuff. And how the Marvel movies aren't doing that well, and Star Wars isn't really doing that well right now, except for the older original Lucasfilm stuff. And I talked about how you can see it directly. It's directly quantifiable through the numbers that the Barbie movie helped Mattel pad their losses. They weren't as bad as Hasbro, but you got crap Transformers movies. You have like either crap to no G.I. Joe media, because I don't even include that Snake Eyes film. That was like American Ninja in Tokyo. And then at the same time, all these numbers are through the roof.
Yeah.
And some guy left a comment, I don't understand economics. And I was like, okay, thank you very much for that. Thanks for leaving a comment. The algorithm appreciates you. Like, I don't give a shit. Whatever. It's just, it is what it is. Yeah.
So people will buy these toys at $5 a piece, but not 25. So
what's that tell you?
You don't understand economics?
I understand economics. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep your overhead costs down, sell it at a price where customers think that it's a good value, and then they're going to buy it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Here's your dude, Ryan.
Hey, John Papa Sergio. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? Good to see you here. And that's the whole Ollie's conversation brings up something else too. And this coming Wednesday, I have Jeff Hicks from World Class Bullshitters on, and I had already had him lined up just to talk about like Ollie's and this and that. And I had questions regarding how are G.I. Joe fan channel items making it to Ollie's, and I honestly didn't know the answer. So it was a legitimate question. And then I learned the answer. And I'm a firm believer that if I have a question about something, there's easily 50 people behind me who have the same question that just don't ask it.
Yeah.
So now I have that answer, and we're going to talk about that. And then, ironically, right after I booked Hicks, all this stuff came out about Hasbro's losses and Ollie posting like massive gains.
I feel like Ollie's owes Jeff like a nice check or something.
Yeah.
Cut the guy a check. I never heard of Ollie's before him. Before his
Well,
videos.
we don't even have Ollies. You don't have Ollies either, right, Ryan?
No, but I got friends that live near Ollie's, and they send me, dude. I got like 3 giant boxes of stuff from Ollie's right here.
Yeah, I got a million people like, hey man, how many his tanks do you want? And I'm like, whatever, dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, tell me how much and I'll pay you. Ninja, do you have Ollies?
Yeah, I have an Ollie's, and just like everybody else, they usually have some amazing stuff.
I have to hunt Ross and Target, but I find some good stuff. I know you guys aren't
I like Ross.
you aren't really big on the scale, but I mean, look at this. This is a 118.
I'm so jealous of everything that you guys get in your scale. Like it just, I'm always so jealous about that shit, man. Look at that.
Yeah, and it's an accurate A10. Look, the engines are in the
Look
accurate
at that,
placement,
man.
and this was $25.
Jeez,
Dude, and look at the options you have. If you want to paint it, no matter what you want to do
Oh,
to it, it's
yeah.
still worth that price.
Yeah, and I'm gonna G that thing up. Like it's gonna get the
Mhm.
teeth. It's gonna get the dark gray and the light gray. It's gonna get the two-tone, and I'm gonna make
Listen,
it legit.
awesome.
listen. This is from a 6-inch collector. That's a better scale.
Yeah, like it's
I'm
looking
too
like
deep
it, man.
into 6-inch now,
It's
though.
looking
I
like
can't
it.
switch now. But that's a better scale. Look, you can, like Chad, you always say you can world build.
Oh,
You know, you got ships and vehicles and
Yeah.
big play sets and all this cool stuff.
And I have massive vehicles. I have small vehicles. I have battlefield accessories. I got a USS flag. Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about the 118 scale is that I can get a single seater motorcycle or I can get a friggin' 7-foot 4-inch aircraft carrier.
Crazy.
And the sky's the limit.
Crazy.
But
Yeah,
I think that each scale has its pluses. I do. I think that 12-inch has pluses. I think it just depends on what you like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just kind of one of those things. But just like Ryan, you said you're too deep into the 112 scale to change. I'm too deep into the 118 scale. It's my whole life.
Yeah.
I do have 112 scale stuff. I got a bunch of Bobby stuff, and I do have 7 classified figures. So you could say
There
it's
you go.
pretty serious.
I
Hey,
gotta,
man, like I was a 3 3/4-inch purist. That's what she said. Until Hasbro ruined 3 3/4 Star Wars, and then I was done. Yep. See, there it is.
Ryan's
man.
too deep with 6-inch.
Hey, you bought him out.
I did. I let him out. Let's spice it up.
Ooh.
Ninja, by all
See,
means.
I was just about to say I got to start getting ready to leave, and you want to bring this guy up on a damn script.
And then you can go, but I want to
I'm
hear.
gonna head out. I'm gonna head out after we talk about this for a quick
All right.
minute. But you know what? I get blamed all the time for leading a campaign against this thing. That I'm gonna let LaserPants go. Let him go first, man.
No, I was literally blamed on Twitter a month or so ago.
I
for
think
this
we're in the
failing.
top 3. Yeah, it's always me or you. Like we're right up there at the top, and and you was lighting up the boulevard. You was making shit look nice and beautiful and a nice.
I
little
love that.
course.
So people are like, "Well, you were trying to sell the Bratz car and saying it was just as good." I was like, "No, I wasn't. I did
Right.
one.
We were
I
saying
did
we were
one
showing
show.
options, just showing some options.
It wasn't even about the engine of vengeance. I was just showing. We did a show about 112 scale vehicles. What's out
right,
there?
right.
And I was like, "Here's the Bratz car,
you
guys."
showed off
and
multiple
Bobby,
things.
yeah, I showed all kinds of stuff. But Bobby and Tony started making fun of me for having a
Bro.
doll car.
Bro, you
And it-
showed off so much, they started to go to sleep. It was like every 2 seconds you pulled up something else on the screen. That's how much shit you showed off.
Yeah. And this whole narrative started. Well, they're trying to say the Bratz car it will be the engine of vengeance, and the engine of vengeance should cost $30 like the Bratz car. All stuff none of us ever said.
hmm
But that's the internet for you.
Yeah, man.
So
What is that game? Is it Telephone that the kids play in school where you say one thing from the start of the classroom and by the time
Telephone.
it gets to the end? Yeah, man. That's exactly what the
yes.
internet is.
And dude,
It's hilarious.
when you see the Marvel team, Ryan Ting, like getting mad about the Bratz car, like on camera. Well, it's not
Yes.
a doll car, he said on someone's interview.
Right.
I'm like, oh
They
man,
look so
this
triggered.
This has really triggered some folks.
I call my action figure dollies, so it is a doll car. Thank you.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I play with my action figures. Some people don't like to admit that, but I'm like, if you pose them around, if you put them in different poses, you have, even if you're not acting it out, boom, boom, crash. If you're just in your mind, you're having these scenes. If you're kid bashing it, that's all forms of playing with your action figures, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
But it's like-
I had
it's
a
like
big
right
discussion
now-
this past Wednesday about that, like, you know, posing them and making little diorama scenes,
playing
and,
with
you know,
them.
like briefings and this that's adult playing. Toy
Yeah.
photography is adult playing, even though we know who pioneered toy photography.
and right now I fully admit that I'm playing with myself.
hey, man,
You know,
see, that's what
posing this
happens. You gotta,
around and-
right. Adults playing with themselves. I thought that's a luxury that adults get to do and not feel shamed about it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Dr. Ruth said so a long
It's
time
not-
ago.
It's not weird.
Nah, man.
That's not weird at all. It's the new normal. Thank you very much for that. So where did this whole it's got a top, middle, and bottom come from? Was that this
It
sucker?
came, yeah, man. They were a part of an interview, and like once again, digging themselves a bigger grave. I believe it was Dwight that was doing. He was answering some questions, and a part of his sell for the product was to say, like he was going on a long list. It has
So,
doors. It has lights. It has
we-
a top. It has a middle. It has a bottom.
We have to clarify. Because he was, whether he'll ever admit it or not, he was responding to Bobby Valla about people talk about how much tooling compared to the Sentinel, how many parts. He's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's not just a car. It has a top,
Once
and
again,
it has a middle, and it has a
yep.
bottom.
Once again, them being triggered over something on the 3POA, man. Like,
I love it.
Oh,
and they dug themselves a deeper hole by that horrible, horrible sales pitch. It was horrible.
yeah.
And by they, I mainly mean Dwight. Like, I don't know the guy. I have nothing personal against him, but that was one of the worst things you could possibly say, like, to make a point.
Yeah, he was. Find my figures. Yep. He was trying to justify the price. Yep.
And then, just like with Luke Skywalker coming with the Rancor with a lightsaber, and Ryan pointed out he didn't have his lightsaber at that point. A Dodge Charger is a rear-wheel drive car.
Right.
And where's the tire smoke coming from?
There was just so much bad. And then you include a regular version of the car, but upon initial, let's say, release of the campaign, I don't think a regular version of Robbie, his face sculpt, was included. It was just, wasn't that an unlock to get the body of him in normal
Yeah.
mode?
So there was the early bird unlock to get powered down Robbie.
Right.
Extra figure.
You had to unlock the normal head sculpt to go with the normal version of the car.
Right.
Yeah, right there.
That's wild.
fact
Later
that-
they threw it in because they felt like idiots, but yeah, they threw it in later.
The fact that it's an early bird just shows, okay, this is in the budget, but we're only going to give it to you if we really, really want to.
Right.
If it funds fast enough.
Right.
And it didn't, and so he wasn't included.
Scroll
And-
up, go back up a little bit, Chad. To the
I think
up
I
one
think
more.
when
Right
he
there.
wasn't added, that was kind of the beginning of the end for this campaign.
And I'm assuming you have it would nice looking product. I never said it looks horrible or looks bad. It looks like the premium Mars plastic that they preach about, right?
It looks
But
awesome.
I hope you have someone in that head in the car seat 24/7 because that light on the headrest, shit's pretty bright. You gotta
Oh,
have
yeah.
a figure there 24/7. Otherwise, you're gonna see that light.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good point. You're talking about this guy right here.
Yeah.
And you can
Which is
see it right
I mean,
there.
that is a clever idea to put a light
It
there
is.
so that his head illuminates when he's driving. That's cool.
Or they could have had the light coming down from the top since they love the top so much. They love to like advertise it has a top. They could have had the light coming down from the top to hit the top of the head. That maybe would have hit it at these angles.
Yeah. And then there was no revving sound from that car, even though the reveal teaser had revving engine sounds.
Yes.
True.
You know, I don't even mind that so much. I was watching some of the old 90s like infomercials and commercials for like old toy lines, and they make it do so much stuff it never really did. I'm like, maybe that's just a part of that, but that's a hard sell. That's a hard reach for me to try to be positive about it.
Yeah.
But hey,
When Kirk Bazigian was the vice president of Boys Toys over GI Joe and everything else, you're talking 91, 92ish. Hasbro got sued because the grip and rip helicopter backpacks that they were putting out in the later 90s lines, they showed it do something in the commercial that the toy couldn't do, and they got sued.
Man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's something he and I talked about at length.
That
And
is,
I was
I
like,
didn't know
oh, that sucks.
I miss those old commercials where it would like have the person's hand in it, like breaking a wall. The action figure comes through the wall. Yeah.
One of my intros is that it's like a guy holding a figure and he takes the figure and like roundhouse kicks this thing and it all falls down. So this was the one to me, and again, I'm not a 1/12 guy, but this seemed to be like the most controversial when everything was just getting more so than the Sentinel and the bad hips and knees, and then the trolling the community, slapping the Galactus's knees. But this one to me was like fucking dumpster fire level bad rollout, worse than Rancor.
Yep.
I don't know how you guys feel about it, but on the
It all
outside
comes-
looking in, I was like, this thing is a bag of dicks. Like that.
Well, it all came down to that price.
Yeah.
At $350 price. That's crazy.
And that's the same amount of money, $3,150,000.
Right. And
on the car.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were like, well, it's all about the unlocks. It's all about the 4 figures that are unlocked.
That they were still saying at the time, we shouldn't complain about a word because they're free. So
I think this is when they started admitting, well, the price of those is all worked into the base price. It's like, well, then I'll buy one when everything's unlocked.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree. They were talking about that with this when they were trying to get people to finish backing it, but
yeah, because
this
I don't
didn't
want
even get as close as the Rancor.
I don't want this car in one figure for $350. Well, $385 for me after tax, right? And then plus shipping on top of that. That's crazy. And the 4 figures that they had behind the unlocks, or the 3 figures, were essential figures to the line.
Almost every collector, almost every collector wanted those damn figures.
Mephisto, the Goblin Queen, and who was the other one? Hellstrom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People are going to want those figures. They're like, well, we have to put them in a HasLab because we can't sell them at the store.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious? You know how many devils and demons are at the store right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Once
I
again,
don't want to
them
hear
pretending,
it.
them
Yeah.
pretending
But again-
that their main audience is not adults, man.
Right.
Right. And then Pillars of Adventure says that new Ghostbusters HasLab has stickers as an unlock. Well, they
I think
kind
it
of
funded
did the same
too,
with
man.
the Sky Striker. I won't lie. They did kind of the same with the Sky Striker, but one of those things. But yeah, this thing was bad. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that, and we're gonna move on to this thing. Ninja, whenever you got to bow out, brother.
Yeah,
Just,
I'm gonna get ready to head out. But man, this shit was fun. And then when I'm here, since LaserPants is the star of the show, he brought all these people with him. Like his light is so bright that it's like it's dimming me. I can't even see. Like my eyes, I'm having trouble seeing. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, what's up,
But
everybody?
man, it was fun, man. I will be
What's going
the
on,
the
people?
Chat army. You guys will see me again. I'll be back pretty soon, man.
thanks very
but-
much, brother. We appreciate
Yeah, I
you
had
coming.
fun. Love you guys. White potato. Keep giving them hell.
Hey, plug your stream tonight. It's after this.
Oh, yes. I will be
Yes.
live at 9 p.m. I got to get some stuff ready before I go live. I'll be live at 9. And we talked about a few things during this that I'm going to bring up on that live. So I'll make sure that I plug Chad because I fucking love Chad. He's awesome.
Thanks,
Oh,
brother.
yeah.
I love you too. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, man. I don't know when's the next time going to be with all, the BS going on. But
Yeah,
I'm
which
I'm
sucks.
hoping that it's soon, man. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that it's soon.
Me too.
But,
We'll all figure out where we're gonna get together and form Toxic Voltron and piss people off.
Exactly. Team toxicity. AKA
see you,
Team
brother.
Logic. Yo, y'all have fun, man. Have a good night.
Good to
Later,
see ya.
Ninja.
Later.
Later, brother.
You got to play him out.
There you go. Very cool, man. I'm glad he came and hung out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool.
Okay. Black Series Reva Force effects elite lightsaber.
This-
Look
this
at
one-
those numbers, man.
This one is so bad. I think this is the first one that Lucasfilm was like, Hasbro, here's what you're doing. You have to make this, right? You have to make this, and you have to label it as Reva's lightsaber. They were really pushing that character. No one cared about her. Everyone wanted to see Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? That's what they
God,
cared
that
about.
character sucked. Like, she sucked.
So bad. But
I mean, I didn't like that show at all, but she was like,
sh-
I even liked that little the little grifter, not Jedi guy using magnets. I liked him better than her.
the sad thing is she wasn't even the worst part of the show. The worst part of the show was the way they wrote Obi-Wan Kenobi. They annihilated that character, and then they ruined the actual story of Star Wars when he fights Vader in A New Hope. Anyway,
It was completely canon breaking, and Leia's a little girl boss, and that show was garbage, but whatever.
But this stupid thing, I mean, this should have been a retail item with one blade for half the price, and just call it Inquisitor lightsaber. You probably would have got more sales.
Yeah.
$500 for that. I just
Impossible Pie is asking, is this the biggest HasLab failure?
No, I think Cookie Monster was a bigger failure. I don't think Cookie Monster ever broke 1,000 backers.
So that's probably Cookie Monster, but a lot of them didn't have a target of 5,000, right? Some of them had more, so
it's true. I don't know where
probably
Cookie
have to do
Monster
some
landed.
kind of math.
Yeah.
And then JLS says, third sister, more like turd sister. This, I don't, oh, look, it comes apart.
Yeah, it's just, it's a ridiculous lightsaber anyway. And this is the lightsaber in Rebels that the Inquisitors would hold up.
Fly.
And it would spin, and they would fly around like a helicopter, which I can't explain the number of ways in which that doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, it's goofy. And then, George Aiken says an unpopular toy for an unpopular character. And then somebody else, right here, Media Clash. The problem is other companies make better lightsabers.
They do. Hasbro lightsabers aren't great, man.
I cannot agree with that comment more.
I mean, a Hasbro lightsaber retail is like $250, almost $300 now, and you can get good custom ones, for that are way better for about that price.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's
color changing and the whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah.
This comment, I would say the Rancor was the biggest because it was getting debacked during the campaign.
And the Engine of Vengeance was too. The Engine of Vengeance was dropping.
And one thing I forgot to mention while we were discussing the Rancor, and originally I was going to segue from the Rancor into the Sky Striker because to me, they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
The Rancor, everyone could tell it wasn't going to fund in those final moments. And so people were jumping ship from the Rancor to the Sky Striker. And that's the only reason that the Sky Striker got pushed over so many of those tiers, because it had funded, but it wasn't doing fantastic. But as the Rancor backers were jumping ship, they were all going over to the Sky Striker. So that's one thing that I was paying attention to, because again, it's the only one that I backed.
And that's a lot of the speculators, the flippers. They're just
flippers.
buying it to flip it, right? So,
and then even the ones that bought the Sky Striker to flip it, they got screwed because, as we're going to get to the Sky Striker here in a minute, so many QC issues with that thing. Like, I was pissed, super pissed. Pardon me, because that scale is my life's blood, and I'm not even going to get to it now. But Pillars of Adventure says if they added a tier unlock where she never returns to the franchise, it would have funded. Wait, I gotta do it. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be surprised if we ever saw her again in live action, maybe comic books or something, but I don't know. Lucasfilms and Disney is not doing good right now. So,
yeah. And then, here's a good point from George Aiken, one of our wise sage friends from the UK.
Indeed.
HasLab tried to fund the Sky Striker, Rancor, and the Proton Pack at the same time.
And only the Proton Pack made it.
Sky Striker did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Snell's World, is that a retool of the Darth Maul saber?
No.
No. It's got all that caca going on. Brandon R said South Park is doing well right now, though. Ooh, we were talking about that backstage. And
Dude,
Gina Carano is like just
she's
giving Lucasfilm all
I'm
the
telling
black
you,
eyes.
dude, I love that woman so much. I love Gina Carano.
I know,
She
me
is awesome.
so much.
I tried getting Paramount Plus. I tried getting it on the Apple TV, and it just kept crashing. It wouldn't work. I couldn't sign up for Paramount Plus so I could watch that episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
don't know what's
hear
going
such
on.
great things about it.
Yeah.
So this was just the saber, right? Like that's it. No nothing.
Yeah, just the saber and the stand. I don't even think they talked about unlocks.
Yeah. So
on
it's
this
just
thing.
this
Yeah.
right there.
hmm
What a pile of garbage.
It's just an app. It's so silly, the design of the saber, the fact that it spins. It's just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
of course, this one doesn't spin because that would have been a serious feat of engineering.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron Nichols says also those 3 HasLabs were all at Christmas time.
And right after Galactus, like they all kind of ran into each other. Galactus ended first, I think.
Yeah. And then John Papa Sergio says Gina just posted again.
So that's twice today because I saw the one she posted 4 hours ago.
What did Gina say to get her kicked off? People tried to pressure her to put her pronouns in her bio, and instead of pronouns, she put the word beep, bop, boop, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Beep, bop, boop. And
She
destroyed
I
her.
remember she said, like, I'm not going to do that. You know, I support everyone. Live your life how you want. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put pronouns
Yeah.
in my bio. Everyone knows I'm a woman. And yeah, they went after her.
And then Kathleen
Big time.
Kennedy told her she had to go to some like sensing session with 45 members of the LGBTQ community.
It's a struggle session.
Yeah.
It's a virtual gulag.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's shame session, nothing but.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing was a joke. Anyway, so we're gonna move on from this pile of shit. And I want to talk on this for a minute.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So it did back, obviously, right? The target was 10,000 just to get the initial offering backed, and it hit 15,000 backers. 16,000. I don't know what my cursor's doing. Thank you very much. 16,000 was going to be the ground crew of what was commonly referred to as ketchup and mustard. And
That would have been cool. That was a cool unlock.
see what I was talking about? Fucking stickers. There you go. That's stickers. And the O-ring figures, some of them I thought were cool concepts, like the Night Force Ripcord, because Night Force Ripcord was never offered originally in a Real American Hero from 82 to 94.
Mm-hmm.
But now Night Force, especially with Classified, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but everything's Night Force now. Like, why the hell is Big Ben Night Force? I don't know. Why Shooter Night Force? No idea. But
I like the colors better than Tiger Force. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Night Force is my favorite sub team. I make everything Night Force. I made a Brawler Night Force and the whole 9 yards. I have a Night Force Rolling Thunder that I customized.
Cool.
But this thing did fund. It came with the flight stand that you can store all the ordnance on the side of the flight stand. It came with this cool little mini vehicle. Now the little fuel cart, it's almost the exact same fuel cart. It's not the same mold, but it's the same design as the fuel cart that came with the flag. But this ordnance cart is completely new, and then you get all the blast effects. Now this guy, Wayne Ruthell, aka Failsafe, he's a new figure. On the original Sky Striker box, they had the name of Wayne Ruthell in the what was called the Rio seat, which is like your radar and whatever, radar intelligence officer, I believe. Probably whatever. In the Rio seat, the back seat, like Goose's seat, right? You know, come on, talk to me. So they did finally make Failsafe, which I thought was cool. One thing about this, not just one thing, if you look at the thumbnail for our show, I put this little Easter egg. I'm going to pop us out for a second. Can I do? Anyway, if you look at the little Easter egg on the thumbnail, I put open form side on one of the boxes because that's what it says in the Sky Striker box. Yeah. So when you open the shipper box, the package box that's right inside of it says open form side. It doesn't say open from side. It says open form side. And that became a big joke for a while. But when people started receiving this aircraft, they were getting no missiles, no seats.
Really?
Yeah, all sorts of crazy stuff. Every one of the figures, and again, this isn't everybody. Not everybody got the same, messed up package. But when I opened mine, I got two. I backed two. One to open, one to resell to pay for them, because people do that. And we're allowed to do that because it's a crowdfund. I'll do whatever the I want.
Yeah.
But when I opened the figures, and they did come in a nice little, almost like a little slip case where they're kind of all stacked and they don't really touch each other. And I appreciated that. But all my cards had veins, big, throbbing, veiny card veins. And half of my figures, the blister was separated from the bottom of the card back.
God,
and they're supposed to be unpunched figures.
Yeah.
3 of the 7 were punched. 5 of the 7 had the bubbles separated from the card back. I gave them all away. I just straight gave them away because none of my figures are O-rings except for the pilots and drivers and whatever that come with the vehicles I have.
Right. So,
but this thing was such a nightmare, man, that when it first shipped, people were reselling it for like $300, $350, $400. You always got that one turd that tries to sell something for like $500.
Yeah.
But immediately when the QC issues started to become widespread on social media, this thing dumped. And people could not move it.
What was the original price on it?
$229, so $230. Jay Bartlett's here. What's up, my brother?
At $300, they're almost breaking even. I think at this point, the resale market, there were so many resellers buying them just to resell at this point that it had become oversaturated. People saw what happened with the Barge and Unicron and the Sentinel, and so they went in heavy the next year with Galactus and the Sky Striker, and the numbers were high. Like Galactus sold over 30,000. This one ended up at 15,000. I think that's high for a product that's been released before. Like there's several Sky Strikers out there already, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I just think the resale market wasn't there. You can get a Galactus now for about what it was at the HasLab price, $400. Even the Sentinels came way down.
Yeah. And this is a great comment. There should never be QC issues on a $200+ toy.
Bingo.
Absolutely. Especially these dream project HasLabs. There should never be these QC issues. The shitty knees, the wonky hips, all that stuff. Like you should never experience that stuff. If these are the dream projects, like why are you seeing this? Why do I have no seats in my Sky Striker? Why are all my card backs garbage?
Yeah.
And not only did they have veins, like I've shown them on streams before, they look like when they were packaging it, like they were just skipping these cards across like a concrete floor. Just scratches left and right.
Why can't Hasbro make, retro carded figures that don't fall off the card anymore? It was happening since the vintage collection line in, 2012, and then the Black Series 3 3/4, and then now the Indiana Jones stuff, this G.I. Joe stuff. They're falling off the card while they're hanging on the pegs at the store.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec, Ryan. Sorry.
Sure.
Just give me 1 sec. I'm going to let you talk about
it. Okay. Hey everyone, it's just me here. Let's see here. Let me look at the chat. Robert's Infinite Realms. That's why I never backed the Sky Striker. I have several. This had a few more bells and whistles. Exactly. And the last retail Sky Striker wasn't anywhere near $230. Big Bacon, I do like stuff. I am all alone. The white potato takeover. You know, I could display my soundboard here. Just do this, but no more than 6 seconds. I don't want to get him a copyright strike. JMK Custom Works. Gah, I thought he'd never leave. Oh, Ricochet Rick. Hasbro has been killing their lines with poor QC. Agreed. Poor customer relations. Pricing out customers. It all adds up. Just look at their insane stock price drops recently for this year. Yeah, and they make a lot more than action figures too, and it goes beyond their action figures line. I know their Dungeons and Dragons and Magic stuff is the fans are pissed about that, and that stuff is causing them to hurt. Everything okay there, Chad?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was my wife. She just got back to where she needed to be.
Hey, no worries.
Yeah.
John Papa Sergio, Boba Fett's throne room was $229 and not HasLab. Proof they can do big items and not make them crowdfund items. Exactly.
Yep.
And it's been said a lot recently with the Giant Man that they just crowdfunded. There's $200 Transformers on the shelf all the time. They're out there.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's a good hopefully the Hiss tank will be okay on the QC. And that's one of those things, like, I know people are jazzed for the Hiss tank. They're jazzed for the Dragonfly. Everybody in the chat is talking about the Vamp. Chad finally put his pants on. Eat shit and die. I've had pants on the whole time. Anyway. But that's one of those things. I backed this Sky Striker. Yeah. Did I need to? No, fuck no. Right? I've got 8 Sky Strikers. I didn't need it. I backed it because even though I can say that I don't fall into FOMO, which I don't. I didn't fear that I was going to miss out on a Sky Striker. I got sucked into I want to back it because I want to show that 1/18 scale is still viable and people still like this scale. That's why I backed it. I did that vote with my wallet. Not long after this, they were like, "Hey, we're putting O-ring G.I. Joes and 1/18 scale on hold indefinitely," which is corporate speak for we're shit canning it, which was kind of a slap in the face to people.
Yeah.
But then everybody's talking about this Vamp. This Sky Striker could have been in retail. There was no reason for it to not be in retail. The 30th anniversary Sky Striker was in retail. This thing could have been.
Absolutely. I mean, they had a Sky Striker at retail not that long ago.
Yep.
Didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. The 30th anniversary was just in retail. And, you know, you've got Mattel. They're like, "Oh, what do you need? Castle Grayskull in retail? You got it, fam." You know what I mean? And they're like, mounts, vehicles, play sets, the whole 9 yards.
Massive dinosaurs.
Yeah. All that stuff. I mean, you can get it. I can go into Target and I can get that that Soldier Force AC-130 Hercules gunship. And that's like $50. You just take it out of the box, stick the wings on it, and there it is. I've got one hanging on the wall. It's massive. That's what she said. But I'm concerned for the people who backed the Hiss and the Dragonfly, because everything we've talked about so far, you know, the Sentinel and this sucker and a lot of QC issues. I don't want to see them continue. And I'm not going to be the guy that says, "Yeah, I told you so," but I don't want to see it happen.
I don't want to be. I would not want to be that guy. "Yeah, I told you so," because then it's almost like you're rooting against that collector. And I don't want people to get bad product, right? Because you put bad karma out there, it comes back at you, right? But
the anniversary Sky Striker, the 30th anniversary that was sold in retail was, I believe, $50.
To answer Darth Gutierrez, yes, I did pre-order a Vamp. I thought it was a good value. You know, $25 figure, $75 decently sized vehicle. You know, it's not huge, but it'll fit on my shelf, and I think it looks cool. So yeah, I pre-ordered that.
I think the Vamp is another one of those examples of when you upscale a vehicle from 1/18 scale to 1/12 scale, they put those details in it. I get working winch, right? Oh, it's got a working winch, whatever. But just even the clevises, you know, what people call the little tow hitch things. They have the clevises on it. They have the winch on it. They've got all the little accessories. He's got the little fire extinguisher. Those are the things that you want to see translated to that larger scale. Yeah. Because you know, my 1/18 scale Vamps, I've got a couple. the entrenching tool or the shovel on the hood comes off and whatever. But I think they did a good job with translating those items. And no, I didn't pre-order it because I don't collect that scale. But I still think they did a good job with it. I will definitely agree with that. Oh yeah, and then see John Papa Sergio says they even had the oh shit handles, right? The little
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's not a
Uber
working
Pete's
wrench.
here and says, "Who's Clevis, and do we know him?" You remember Clevis from back in the day, Pete? You know Clevis. Yeah, anyway, that's all I got. What were you saying?
Okay.
Right.
Oh, someone asked if the Vamp's winch was actually working. It doesn't. You can't actually winch something with it, but it
No,
you
but
can
you
pull the
can
string out. And,
take the cable out and
and you
it's
can
just on a
wind
little,
it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's on a gear basically. It just goes tick, 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 and comes in and
Right.
out. Sal says hi. Hi, Sal. Good to see you.
What's up, Sal?
Thanks for being here. And then 49er Brian says, I'm just happy there's a Vamp, which means a Stinger soon and a Ferret. Well, the Ferret's on the box, and I know that so many people love to, they love to Easter egg hunt on these packages, but you can definitely see the Ferret in the background. The Cobra Ferret's a vehicle that they should have done right out of the friggin' gate with Classified.
Hasbro loves their motorcycles,
Ram.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Hasbro loves their motorcycles, though. So they always got to lead with that. Like even with Marvel Legends and the Ultimate Riders, it was like 4 different motorcycles, and then they did Professor X, and then they did Ghost Rider. But I like that the Ferret's coming because it's motorcycle size, more or less.
Yeah,
but
ATV.
it's not a motorcycle. Yeah, it's an ATV, which it's a cool option.
Yeah. Creepy Bowen made it. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And then Jeremy says, I know Clevis. Clevis still owes me $50. Nice. I'm pre-ordering Junkyard and Mutt Faux Show on Tuesday. I will say it was nice to see that new window box packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That 2-pack looks cool.
Yeah. But again, to me, and this is just me, how many times has Classified packaging, package art, layout, all that stuff, how many times has that changed? This is like their 6th package design. To me, it wrecks the visual language of a line, but again, that's just me. 49er Brian, Thunder Machine next HasLab.
I don't know what that is. Oh, he's got to go get it. Which section of the collection is that in? Oh, that's cool. Oh, so that's like the Dreadnoks vehicle, right?
Yeah, it's the Dreadnought Thunder Machine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thrasher's the driver.
Dope.
Yeah. Well, they are making that Soundwave Thunder Machine crossover, whatever they call them, collabs.
Oh, the O-ring? Yep.
Yeah. And again, right, because Hasbro's friggin' infinite wisdom, they announced in their little quarterly roundtable, whatever, that they were shit canning 1/18 scale G.I. Joe. And then like 3 hours later, they're like, hey, here's that Soundwave Thunder Machine with 2 O-ring figures. It's like, maybe you should have done this first, yesterday. You're so dumb, dude. Maybe the Rattler is next. I don't know. I mean, whatever. If you guys
that would
dig
be
it,
big. That would be I think they would do a HasLab for that.
Well, because they would have to. Steve's Toys, he 3D prints all that stuff. He's done, the Rattler. He's done a working 1/12 scale Sky Striker with the swing wings. He builds all of that, and they're massive, massive vehicles. But
cool.
Anyway, so let's talk this dude.
Giant Man.
Yeah. So Giant Man just funded. You guys, you did an episode on Giant Man? Was that just you or all 3 of you?
It was all 3 of us. Yeah. We did it a month and a half ago when it first went up. Yeah. So I feel like I was the only one on the show that thought it was. Actually, no, that's not true. Bobby thought it was a decent price. I thought it was a decent price for this. 24 inches. That's big. I was looking at other comparable items, and there isn't a lot of 24-inch figures out there right now, but there's stuff from Mondo coming, which is around the same price as this. Those are 12 inches. And then you have NECA's quarter scale line, which is about 18 inches, which those are about 130. So I'm looking at 24 inches tall, $200. I thought it was fair. I liked that there weren't figures locked behind it, even though it would have made sense to have Wasp and a 6-inch giant man with it. Absolutely, that would make complete sense.
Right.
However, that also would have made it $250. So because we know now they're just out there admitting it, all the unlocks are worked into the price.
Yeah, and
So-
they were kind of alluding to that with a few of the previous HasLabs that we talked about, but with this one, they were just flat out, full disclosure. Hey, it's all part of the cost. So
they really they got raked over the coals for that Ghost Rider car, and so they wanted to come in a lot cheaper. Which, is this a dream project? Nah.
No. And again, this is kind of why I wanted to do this show, and I wanted to do this show with you specifically, because we went through like the array of HasLabs, and you go from the Kitana, and then you go to Unicron. The Sentinel, I'm just going to kind of put that to the side a little bit, but then you look at Galactus, and then look at this dude. And like Greg says, good price, but didn't need to be a crowdfund. This could have been a Pulse exclusive.
Agreed.
Just like the Sky Striker. Is a 1/18 scale frickin' Sky Striker? Is that a dream project?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Because like I can move a foot and there's 2 of them right there.
And
it's stupid.
Who just said this could have been a Pulse exclusive? Someone.
Oh, that was Greg.
Yeah,
Right
Greg. I totally agree with Greg. I'd go one step beyond that and say this could be at retail easily.
Yep.
Right? You got the dinosaurs you put together. They're 5 feet long. Just pop the legs off, put them in a box. It's on the shelf.
And the head. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not hard. The whole retail doesn't want it, or I'm not buying it. Not at this size. Right
Look at
on.
It's actually 225. Thank you very much. Man, that's crazy. That is
Crazy,
awesome.
man.
That's crazy.
You're a popular dude.
No,
Everyone likes you.
Everyone likes me. I have some comments that say otherwise, but that's okay.
Well, trust me, that goes along with it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And that's, it is what it is. JLS says, I'm not enough of a giant man fan to have that big ass thing hanging out in my house. I said it looked like a giant red dildo, but I mean, that's just me because it's 230 now, baby.
It's I think that was one of the reasons why it funded so slowly. I think, this is his look from basically the 1960s. So how many people want this old comic book character? Obviously not a lot. I mean, it almost hit 14,000, but that's not a lot. How many of those people are speculators wanting to flip it?
Right. That's what you got to take into consideration. And that's okay. Like,
right.
Again, because there's always those people out there that are like, well, I can afford one. I want one. I like it. Okay, cool. Then you're going to get those people that they buy 5 and then they get like their spouses or their brothers or their, cousins, sisters, uncles, nephews account and they buy 5 more. Whatever. If it funds for the people who really want it, then it funds. But, like Sean here says, I agree at 200, you should have had this as a Pulse exclusive, not HasLab. It's not a dream project. That statement has gone away. And that is my only thing with HasLabs. Are they dream projects anymore?
No, not anymore. Even
were?
The Transformers, even the Transformers they did after Unicron, they weren't huge, massive Transformers, and I think they were like $170.
Well, Takara Tomy did that freaking Trainbot combiner, and that wasn't a crowdfund, where it was all the different trains and it made the combiner. And Victory Saber, I looked at Victory Saber and I'm like, yeah, it looks cool, but
it's not that big. I think it's a dream in as much it's a very obscure character,
Yeah.
right? They did this. They did the Victory Saber, and they did what was the other one they did that was smaller? I forget the name of it. But
Was it HasLab?
yeah, I thought they did 2 that were around that size: Victory Saber and something else.
I don't
Or
know.
was it just the Victory Saber?
I believe it's just Victory Saber. Because there he is.
Okay, it was just they just did that one.
He still looks pretty rad, though. I will say.
Yeah,
he
it
does look
looks like
rad.
a cool toy. Absolutely, it's just
just the one.
He came in at what 175, I think.
Let's take a look.
Oh yeah, they did Deathosaurus. He's just not listed there. That's right. That's
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think Deathosaurus was before this guy.
Some of them don't like outright show the price.
Yeah, they're hiding it from us. But they both funded.
I love this. You know, it's like you're begging the community. We need 11,000 backers to fully fund this project. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I like Billy Go Boom's comment right there.
Oh. Dream projects are play sets at the 1/12 scale, not figures.
I mean, for me, it would be a dream to have the Flatiron building with the Daily Bugle logo on top, right?
Ooh.
Right? Have just this massive building, floor, right? Maybe the ceiling. That's a dream project. Put your Spider-Man, the Sinister Six all over it. That is a dream project.
That would be rad. Yeah, and then like, look, a Star Wars cantina or a Death Star.
Look. Personally,
do you get this joke?
Truckosaurus.
Truckosaurus.
Is that
from
like
the Simpsons? Truckosaurus? Love it. There you go. Look, Impossible Pie. Terrordrome would be a dream project.
Yeah, what, for classified or for another 3 3/4 one?
Yeah, you could do it classified.
Yeah, because 3 3/4, I feel like they've done it. I mean, I know they won't do stuff like that at retail anymore. I feel like they could. Yeah, there it is. Have you been?
Well, that's actually 2 of them stacked, but yes.
Have you been watching Michael's restoration?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, I just assed up this camera. I'm like, whatever, bro. A 1/12 scale Millennium Falcon cockpit with light up panels would be nice.
Agreed. I'd be in on that.
You know, and that's, you know, speaking of just the cockpit, that's what she said, cockpit. You can see that Hasbro has gone from playsets, large, small, medium, to dioramas, to hallways. You know, and you can just see that slide over the years. And again, it's one of those things like, when I look at 1/12 scale, I try to look at everything. And I understand, like, when speaking with Bobby, because he understands the business side of it, having been at Hasbro, owning Valaverse, you know, cost versus profit margins. But, you know, the mold that makes a 6-inch figure, the steel mold can make a 4-inch figure and vice versa. And so they can make a larger figure, charge more, make less, make more profit. But then it also, what we're looking at here on this screen, it affords this stuff to come into fruition. Well, the figures are bigger. To make a vehicle for that, we got to crowdfund it. And it completely negates the discussion of play sets. Like, do you see a play set? I mean, granted, I could argue the Kitana is a vehicle / play set, you know.
Fair.
But you don't really see that. You just don't see it because it's engineered that way.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Their play sets now they're just walls.
There's your Deathosaurus, dude.
Oh, there it is.
My bad.
Fall 2020. Oh, so they just did that one.
It was after Victory Saber. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's when it ships, is fall 2023. Got it.
Whatever. Let's talk about this freaking thing. You got anything on the Ghost?
So I you know, the show Rebels, which this is from, was good. I like it. It's not as good as Clone Wars.
No.
There's some really ridiculous things in Rebels that I didn't like, but I like the look of this ship.
I didn't like the animation.
The animation wasn't good. No, Disney bought them. All of a sudden, it's pinch those pennies, and so the animation got poor. That's when the toys started getting worse. But this ship is cool. It just has that Star Wars look. You're not going to look at that and think it's from Star Trek or anything like that. I think it's a very cool ship / playset. If I was still in on the scale, I would have gotten this hands down.
World Made of Cardboard says helicopter lightsaber.
Oh, that was.
I want to read this real quick because I missed it, and we sort of moved on to Star Wars. Ricochet Rick says they said they can't do Fin Fang Foom. I always mess that up. It would be between 500 and 700. Not to mention them cutting corners would destroy that offering. Their actions as a company speak volumes. I know you've talked about. I don't know, but you've talked about Fin Fang Foom before.
Yeah, so of course I would be in on a Fin Fang Foom, right? Even if I wasn't aware of who the character was. Big green dragon, massive green dragon. That's cool, right? Like that screams toyetic to me. I would love to have that.
Sure.
I have the original Fin Fang Foom that's like 16 inches tall or whatever it is. But 5 to 700.
The fact that you said toyetic.
Well, yeah, that's a word. It's in my vocabulary.
It is a word.
The first time I heard toyetic was Joel Schumacher talking about Batman and Robin in the 90s.
Yeah, because they had to make Batman and Robin a toyetic movie.
Yep, but $500. It's pushing it on this, and I know they put out the Millennium Falcon, the BMF. They re-released it again in like 2021, somewhere around there, and it was $500, which was crazy because that thing was $100 when it first came out. But yeah, I would have been in on this, and it would have hurt, but prices are nuts,
LF4 is leaving. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I hope that's a Roman numeral 4. But thanks for hanging out with us. Anyway, on to the Ghost. Greg says, I still don't get why the Ghost couldn't be retail or exclusive. The Millennium Falcon was remade during Force Awakens.
Yep.
True, it wasn't screen accurate like this, but it was retail.
That Millennium Falcon is about as screen accurate as we'll ever see, because even the BMF was underscaled. The actual Millennium Falcon at 3 3/4 would have been much bigger.
Yeah. Here's your answer on Fin Fang Foom.
Okay. Wow, I did not know that. But you know what? Maybe we can talk to Ace from Ramen Toy, and he can make us a big green dragon.
That man told me that he was working on some 1/18 scale stuff, and I was like, now you have my full attention.
He is working on some cool stuff, man. I'm glad he put the bread car out there. That's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Doing some good stuff. George Aiken says the Ghost barely made its first tier, but in the last 2 days it fully funded. That was the same with Giant, man. Like, they were borderline begging people to back that shit.
That's just the way crowdfunding goes sometimes,
It is, yeah. You'll see the surges, and I'm watching that with the Cobra Mothership too. People are like, "Oh, it's not going to fund," and I was like, Even when I was on your show, we had that same discussion. Like, you do not count those chickens until the end.
It's true.
That FOMO, like, the shit is real. It's part of the psychology of toy collecting. People they're like, no. They're like, no, it looks like it's going to fund, and they're like, screw it, and they just hit the button.
It's like, this is my last chance. This is my last chance. Buy it. Put it on a credit card.
Dude, I left that one in my cart when you and I were talking about like how we put it in the cart. I put it in the cart with the 5 O-ring Viper gunners.
Oh, yeah.
And I just let it sit there. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll come back to this.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good.
No, that was it. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. I did that with that Star Killer set, the Black Series Star Killer set. $110 for 3 6-inch figures. Yeah. I was tempted. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, 49er Brian says the Mothership will fund lots of time. They were smart to give it that much time. So, Mike Joseph, what's up, dude? What scale is the Ramen Toy Thunderhawk? It is mask scale, so 1/24th. So it's that scale.
Didn't they go slightly bigger with theirs, or am I mistaken?
It might be a little bigger, but it's not 1/18.
No, yeah, it's not 1/18.
I mean, I'm sure someone's going to actually, Chad, it's like 1/22nd. Thank you. But, yeah.
Well, I thought they didn't want to go
articulation though. The figures look good.
I thought they didn't want to go and I should ask Ace about this, but they didn't want to stick with that exact mass scale just to kind of keep out of hot water as much as they could.
Suka's saying it's 118. I thought it wasn't because I have a bunch of 118 scale mass customs that I made, and I asked if it was 118 and got told no.
I've seen it in person. That's not 118. That's not G.I. Joe scale.
It's got to be like 122nd, but
yeah,
because the 118 scale Rhino I made is huge, like it's massive. Even the Switchblade, like they're big vehicles. I don't know, whatever. And then House Hendo says, "You beg your loyalists, they'll come. Someone should Photoshop them on Rob Stark calling his banners." A little Game of Thrones in there. That's cool. It's 1/21st and a half scale, actually. Yeah, the Ramen Toys Great White does look good. Yeah, there it is. I've seen some comparisons, and it looks to be the same as the old mask. I know that I directly asked Ace, "Is this 118 scale?" And he said no. But
yeah,
whatever.
it's smaller.
Yeah, it'd be what it'd be. Anyway, back to the Ghost. So $500. So it was the same price as the Legacy Falcon, same price as the Cobra Mothership,
and the Katana.
And the Kitana. And again, right, look at the Kitana versus this. I'm not knocking this. Like, I gotta say, man, the paint apps on this sucker look amazing. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
The detail on this. But again, I will say that my Juggernaut clone turbo tank has pretty much the same detail.
Yeah, and
the tampos and the apps.
The BMF does too. You know, the Big Millennium Falcon looks just as good as that.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a fraction of the price back in the day.
Now, this thing did go over like gangbusters because it targeted 8,000 backers and it got almost 22,000 for $500. So, let's do the math on the interest on this sucker.
It came with most of the crew unlocked, not all the crew.
Yeah, and they kind of paywalled those figures, and I was like,
yeah, I'm like, it should have came with the whole damn crew for that price, but you know.
Yeah. So so we're just gonna say 21,000. I'll give them a little credit, right? 21,000 times 500. Oh man, how much money do you think that is?
Times 500 or the target of 8,000? Oh no, $500. I'm not gonna math.
So with the 21,768 backers at $500, you're looking at like $11 million.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, there it is. I think the play spaces in this vehicle look good.
It's crazy.
I know some people are saying that the cockpit looks small, but I don't know.
With as bad as Star Wars has been, they can bring something out and it still makes that much money. You know?
Yeah, that is true.
Of course,
I'm not really. Yeah. So yeah, there's all your unlocks. So you got General Hera Syndulla, which man, in that Ahsoka show, she sucked. She sucked in that show.
Yeah, she had that cake though.
Yeah, she didn't have that caboose. Like, I love to see you leave, and I love to watch you go at the same time. But yeah, but just remember, she had to remind everybody every 4 seconds that she's a general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had Ezra. It's not the Space Jesus Ezra, is it? Is it Kid Ezra?
Yeah, it's animated Ezra. Yeah.
Why would you even put this in here?
Who are they? I don't know.
A bunch of dum-dums. Yeah. I want to see Ezra. No Ezra. Oh, maybe.
He was an unlock, I believe. Yeah. You got everyone except.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Zeb, I think.
Younger-ish Ezra.
Yeah, that's season 4 Ezra. Yeah. So like 17-year-old Ezra, I think.
Not Space Jesus.
Not Space Jesus, no.
Yeah, and then Suka said it's all the season 4 Rebels for the figure unlocks from the mural.
Yep.
Big Bacon says historically accurate Space Jesus. Filoni's butt fetish known as Ahsoka.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Whatever. I will say that for as much as I didn't really care for most of Rebels, except for the stuff where Vader would show up like the shark from Jaws and just wreck everyone's day, I really appreciated those moments. And
Yep.
I did like seeing the Ghost in Rogue One.
That was
But
cool.
it was subtle. It was just kind of off to the side.
Yeah.
But it
Rogue
wasn't
One was
so
good.
much of a. It wasn't that member berry like in your face, like zooming in on the blue milk in Rogue One. Like, hey kids, remember blue milk? It was just like there's a ship over there off to the side.
Right. It should have been there. It makes sense for it to be there. It's not like it's not forced in there like C-3PO was in Ahsoka. Yeah. It's like, oh, all of a sudden this C-3PO shows up.
Yeah.
For Leia. It's like, come on.
Yeah, get out of here. Robert's Infinite Realm says crowdfunds also eliminate the retailer step, so more profit. They don't have to sell to Walmart. Yeah, correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why really these crowdfunders should cost less, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, Suka, you are correct. Chopper does roll by. Yeah, he goes. Burp, 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 burp. Yeah. And yes, Greg, Ghost was also in the end battle of Rise of Palpatine.
Who cares?
Yep. Yeah, we're kind of.
I love Chopper, man. Chopper rivals R2D2 for me, and that's saying a lot.
Chopper was good. Chopper was good in Ahsoka. I will give him that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there's the Ghost. The Ghost funded. You got anything else on this thing?
Not really, because I didn't buy it. So
me neither. I didn't buy it either.
What are they going to do next? What's the next Star Wars HasLab? Ooh. It probably won't be Black Series. If it is, who knows? Maybe an X-Wing.
Did you see this thing? The new one?
Oh, yeah, that's funded. Refresh that. Isn't that funded?
Nope.
Not quite. It will be soon.
608 backers, actually. Ryan, thank you. I can do that math. Watch, I was wrong. I was wrong. Actually, Chad, it was 606, but fuck you.
All that stuff is $200 less than the Ghost? Wow.
Okay, so you get the Ghost Trap, you get the pedal, the PKE meter, and then some freaking speaker cables.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. Obviously that was a premium Pulse member stream thing where they announced all this crap. That's another thing, man. You pay $50 for a Pulse membership. That stream leaked. Everybody saw it. The last one that they did that was a premium Pulse member, like it was just right there on YouTube. They never took it down.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Someone found that stream. It was unlisted, not privated. It was unlisted. Someone found the link and put it out there, and I shared it out. And I was about halfway through it, and they privated it.
Yeah.
So they caught on.
Yeah, and I agree with George. He says the Ghostbusters will fund due to the Proton Pack. Yeah. Yeah, of course it's going to fund. I mean, it's like 2 seconds away from funding.
Yep.
With 43 days to go, yeah, that thing's going to fund.
Yeah.
49er Brian says he wants the next Star Wars HasLab to be anything to do with Ewoks.
Some trees and an Ewok forest village. That'd be kind
of
cool.
That doubles for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yes, Sherwood Forest.
Exactly. All right, so I just kind of want to touch on these two before we call it a night, because I know that Hella Dope's on and Ninja's on, and I don't want to walk on people. But what were your thoughts on the Hiss Tank? $300.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool. By the time, like, this funded very fast.
Oh yeah,
it was just
9 hours.
Day or 9 hours.
9 hours. Yeah, it was the fastest one to ever fund.
Yeah,
with a target of 8,000, and it got almost 27,000.
With all those figures included, what was it? 4 or 5 figures came with this thing.
It was a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair
Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. It was the driver. It was the gunner.
And the technician.
Yeah.
Weren't those the 3?
Some shit like that.
I mean, I didn't back it, but I thought.
Oh, and then there was like the Sponson missile pods and the armor upgrade.
Right.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So by the time everything had been, unlocked, by the time I could even give my opinion on it, everything was unlocked. And I thought that offer was a fair deal for everything, for the $300.
Yeah, and as Suka's saying, the technician, all of these technician variants that people could vote on, these were all based on Ron Rudat's original colorway studies, and then he expanded upon that, and it was kind of the vote. But yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and there was the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander, which again, everybody gets all fucking gaga wrapped around the axles about Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. That was a mistake, but I mean, whatever.
I mean, if I had backed this, that would have been the first thing I listed for sale. I wouldn't have cared about that Cobra Commander.
Yeah, I whatever.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander was not original plan. It was an SMS, and when it funded in 9 hours, they changed plans. The SMS makes sense because one, they announced the SMS not long after this, and two, they would not shut up about the freaking tow hitch on this thing. And even I kept saying I have no skin in the game of 1/12 scale, even though Joe is my lifeblood. But I was like, they're going to make an unlock a towable. It's probably going to be an SMS because it's cheaper to make than a Cobra Asp, but it was going to be a towable. So yeah, I completely agree, Jim. But yeah, there's all your sponsor missile pods and goofy shit.
Did you watch the unboxing they did on this?
No.
Did you see that the box has Semper Fidelis printed on it?
It has the Marine Corps slogan of Semper Fidelis?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's got like a Cobra logo and it says Semper Fidelis.
See, and here you go right here. If it's a freaking crowdfund for adult collectors, why didn't you make it hooded Cobra Commander? Or at least give him a second friggin' head?
Yeah.
No balls. Right? That's like the biggest thing that we do in the military. Like, if you want somebody to do, you just no balls them. No balls. Right? And then they got to do it. Yeah, and then like Matthew Madsen says, why the F did it have a Marine Corps slogan? I got to say, it says Semper Fidelis Serpens.
Okay. What is that?
Semper Fidelis for snakes. I don't know. Somebody tell me what that means.
Okay.
I don't know what Semper Fi means. I'm not a frickin' Marine. So
yeah.
And then House Hendo says, as a Marine, I actually hate that, Chad. As a lifelong Army infantryman, I do too. So
yeah.
Can't have any hoods.
I mean, Cobra's a terrorist organization.
Yeah, but even the Crimson Guard used a lot of Latin stuff in their sigils and their logos. But anyway, so yeah, here's the vehicle, and then it came with all the armor plating and doodads and all that stuff. But Suka said packaging team probably doesn't know etiquette. Yeah. And then Creepy Bone says, not a fucking Marine. I don't know. Semper Fidelis probably means eat crayons. Always faithful. There you go. Thanks, Jimmy.
There it is.
So always faithful to the snake. There you go.
To the snakes.
And then, hey, now they're a politically correct terrorist organization. They're not even a terrorist organization.
What is Cobra?
So if you saw the trailer for the Wrath of Cobra game, that side-scrolling, sprite-based game that's going to come out soon, they say that in the intro, they say, G.I. Joe is a daring, highly trained special mission force, which has always been what G.I. Joe was. So I was jazzed to hear that. But then they said determined. They talk about Cobra, and they said a ruthless criminal organization determined to rule the world, to take out terrorists. But you got to remember, man, everything post 9/11, terrorism is a hard sell. It's just a hard sell, So I get it. I don't mind that pivot. G.I. Joe pivoted to Adventure Team after Nom wasn't popular, and I'm cool with Adventure Team.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy says, I eat crayons. Hell yeah. And then Matthew says, Cobra's just Walmart. George Aiken says corporate terrorists. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And then it's been a Cobra phase for a bit. Yeah. Phrase. I actually have the Crimson Guard shirt with the triangular logo, and I believe it says that on it. I'd have to go get it. But remember, Rise of Cobra made G.I. Joe real international heroes. Yeah. It was GI stood for Global Initiative. Yeah. In Rise of Cobra. That's why the pit was in right outside of I don't want to say Cairo because that is Giza. That's not Cairo. So
Mm,
where the pyramids are is not Cairo. It's outside of
mhm.
Cairo. So anywho, whatever. We're not doing a history lesson. So we're talking about the his tank. And I gotta say, man, all the stuff that they included with this, you know, the bells and whistles, the extra guns, the chin guns I thought were cool, but I was like, yeah, that's been done before. They took pieces parts from all different his tanks. The DTC hiss, the hiss 2, later versions being a guy who has 50 his tanks. But I think the sponson missile pods and everything that they put with this, they were really good value added ideas. What do you think about the lights, Ryan? Like, do you think that
DeLorean.
what's up?
The headlights look like the front end looks like a DeLorean to me.
Yeah, and then it's got this little Cobra spotlight on it
Yeah.
where it like projects it almost like Thundercats or something. I don't. Do you think that the lights add to it? Do you think that they were just like unnecessary? Do you
Yeah,
care?
I I do think it adds something to it. I like it, but you know, this is an adult collectible, right? It's going to go on our shelf for the most part. I would like them to have a USB option where I can have it on the shelf, have it plugged in, and I can just flip a switch, turn it on in my display. I don't have to worry about batteries and going in and taking the batteries out to store it.
Yeah.
That's just a whole other thing I don't want to deal with. I wish they would just have a USB option.
You know, and I completely agree with that because, like, so John Papa Sergio says lights are unnecessary. How often will anyone ever turn them on? Plus, battery corrosion is a thing.
Yeah.
They don't always corrode over long periods of time. Sometimes batteries can corrode earlier. And just like you said, Ryan, a lot of people like fire and forget. Like I take it out, I put my little dollies in it, and I throw it up on my shelfie, and then oh shit, I forgot I had batteries in that thing.
Yep.
So I think the USB option would be pretty smart. Jimmy says the unboxing made it look a little small.
So I didn't watch the unboxing. I just saw a screen cap of the box itself that said Semper Fidelis.
Yeah, serpents.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Impossible Pie says, does anyone use the lights and sounds? Not real. I mean,
I would use the lights if I could plug it in, like the ramen racer. But
well, like my general back there, that one has the batteries in the battery pack, and every once in a while I'll walk by and hit it. But
yeah.
most of my stuff doesn't have batteries in them. Like my Maulers and my Mobats don't just sit there with freaking D batteries in there waiting to corrode.
Right.
That's part of the thing. Whenever you get a vehicle that has a battery pack, the first thing you look at whenever you buy these things is there a bunch of corrosion in there?
Mm-hmm.
But and then
Yep.
corrosion
You gotta
like
look at
ruined them. I'm gonna throw it up. I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm gonna throw it up because I always give credit to the people in the chat because people in the chat are what make it work. And I'm just gonna throw it up. And I'm not gonna say anything. Anyway, Mikey says I would have backed it if it had a water gun feature, like the septic tank.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then battery to power bank conversion kit. Well, fair enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have backed the his tank if they had interchangeable cockpits like the Robo Skull. Then I absolutely would have backed it.
Then you could have like a super his tank for your 3 3/4 stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, in the comics, they have oversized his tanks that are like massive troop transports, and they have guns on the sides. So if they would have done that with an interchangeable cockpit, I would have been all over this freaking thing. But again, thank you, House Hendo. I appreciate that. This is kind of the thing where Hasbro doesn't need to cast that wide net like, say, a Skeletron would, because Skeletron's trying to appeal to the widest audience possible.
Sure.
But Hasbro's just like, nah, fuck you. Like, it's 1/12 and 1/12 only. Either buy it or, pound sand.
Yep.
Did you back the Robo Skull, Chad? Yes, I did. I got the Mark II, the Mark II Special Edition, and multiples of every figure. Even though I have an original Robo Skull, I still backed it. I did. But I backed it because I thought it was a good reimagining of a super awesome vehicle. And I like the guys behind the project, and you know, when we're friends with these people, it makes it matter that much more.
Sure.
You know, Bobby, Matt LaCroix, Mikey Kukovic, who's here in the comments, his dad John with call sign Longbow, like all these people, all these projects, like Carson Metaxas and Operation Recall, and like his book. Like if the people are good, if they're good, solid, quality people, I'm gonna back their shit. That's all there is to it. But George Aiken says I'm a big Red Shadows collector, but didn't back it, but would buy one. Yeah,
I didn't back it either. I think it was up for the campaign was live during around when Galactus and the Rancor was, and I was planning on getting a Rancor. And then of course we know how that went.
Yep.
And so I didn't get a Robo Skull, but I might get one when they come out. You know, I might have to jump in on one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like these items are still out there. You know, they're still available. Jim Smith says Carson has the best Kickstarters. Carson's got his finger on the pulse of like 118 stuff. He's the true torchbearer of a real American hero. Like he's the one that's continuing that stuff. So yeah, and then like Lilith said, fans make the best stuff. Always. You know, from Stan Solo all the way across. Yeah, fans are just killing it. But I think this vehicle's good. I think a lot of like the updates that it did with the fold down ladder, I thought was brilliant. Because the His tanks always have that cutout there anyway. Why not put a freaking flip down ladder in there? They did a really good job on this vehicle. Plus the Gullwing style canopy was another great addition where you can flip the whole thing up, or you can just pull up the Gullwing.
Yeah.
I thought it was an awesome idea. And then let's talk about this guy, and then we'll call it a day.
It's another one. Yeah, the Dragonfly. That's another one that I thought was a fair price, you know, for what you get.
Yeah, $275 for this Dragonfly. I believe was a good price point, and you can see right. The target was 10,000, and they just frickin' blew it away.
I mean, how is this only like $50 more than the Sky Striker? You know, it's something ain't right. But yeah, I thought it was a fair price. You get what, Glenda and Wild Bill, and who else did you get? You got
Night
Ripcord,
Force Airborne,
Ripcord. So you got 4.
It was Airborne, yeah.
Oh, is it just Airborne?
I believe it's Night Force Airborne.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wild Bill came with the base offering, and again, it came with a stand.
The nice stand, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like the clear acrylic. Yeah, that's nice.
And you got the little missile effects and all that stuff. 2.5 feet long. That's
yeah.
Eric said crazy legs.
That's
crazy
right.
legs in here?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Everybody's saying different shit.
I
gotta say, that display, those displays are fantastic. They did a killer job with those.
So it was Night Force, Crazy Legs, and Ripcord, not Airborne. Is that right?
I thought it was Night Force Airborne.
Yes, that's what Matthew Matson said. Okay.
It is. It's Ripcord, Glenda, and Crazy Legs. Thank you.
Okay.
That's right. Because when I was on and we were talking with Tony, he was like, "Why would you put Ripcord in a helicopter? He's not going to parachute out of a helicopter."
No,
you should have had Airborne, right? Because he's the air assault guy.
He's gonna have a real bad day if he tries that.
That Ripcord looks freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I thought everything looked pretty cool, and like I said before, I even thought Glenda was. Did I say that before the show started or during? I don't remember.
No, during. Yeah, when Ninja was still here. Yeah,
I thought Glenda was a cool idea, even though I have no clue who that is. I mean, I do now. It was an Argentinian figure or something like that, or
Estrella.
Okay.
Yeah, from Argentina.
Yeah, so
everybody keeps saying Airborne is coming, Airborne is coming, Airborne is mainline. All right, calm down, freaking classified people. It wouldn't matter anyway, because they would have made fucking Night Force Airborne, and then regular Airborne, and then Tiger Force Airborne, and Paw Patrol Airborne. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I think they teased Airborne after this had funded.
I don't give a shit.
I mean,
Airborne.
One thing in their corner with some of these Haslabs is the fact that they are army builders, like the His tank and this one and the Sentinel. You know, those have all gone gangbusters. Giant Man, not really an army builder. Struggled.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. That's right, Eric. Estrella is Brazil. Isn't it 2 L's? I know we're all just taking pot shots at each other. Yeah. Yep. Estrella's Brazilian. Crimson Airborne. I need Paw Patrol Airborne. I'm just saying you're going to get all that shit. Yes, Estrella's Brazil, not Argentina.
Crimson Airborne.
He looks good, man. Ripcord looks good. Like
Yeah.
down to the zippers on the front of his pants. Like that is accurate. He looks really good. Somebody did say that he should have had his FNFAL, which I completely agree. Backwoods, what's up, dude? 2 hours, 20 minutes late. I still love you. It's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. He should have had his FAL. And that FAL is a pretty good weapon. I don't know, man. That's an impressive looking aircraft.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. It's what?
Huge.
That's what she said.
It might be my last of the night. I got to get it in where I can get it in. What about Wild Bill? Yeah, Wild Bill looks great too.
I thought the whole offering was great. I just, I didn't want to dedicate the room that I have, the space that I have to this exact item.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can understand that. And that, that's another consideration that we all have to take into account is
right.
Space.
Yeah.
Like, do you have the space for that? Because I'll be honest, somebody asked me if I backed that freaking Robo Skull Mark II, and I did. And I knew that when we were PCSing, that I was going to turn my entire garage into a Joe room. I was like, man, I'm going to have so much room for all this new stuff that I pre-ordered. Fuck, no, I have no space. I don't know where I'm going to put this stuff.
Same, dude. Same.
Yeah, and if I was a collector of this scale, knowing that the dollies alone take up more space, and then you get, all the oversized stuff and on and on and on. Where would I put this aircraft? I have no idea where I would put it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would have backed it either, but again, and this is just to me. And did you notice that she has Flash's weaponry? I really like that little wink, because Flash is coming, but that's completely Flash's backpack and his original laser rifle. If 1/12 scale is more based toward dollies than vehicles and playsets and world building, is the drive to put out vehicles more so because the HasLab profit or because the fans are screaming for it?
I think because the fans are screaming for it.
And again, which brings me back around, if it's not a world building scale, why are we trying to force it to be a world building scale?
Hey, as long as people keep spending their money, right? I mean,
I guess.
They can
I just try to look at it academically because I don't really have any skin in that game.
I think it's a new generation of collectors, and moving to the 6-inch scale, they can just do everything again that they've already done. They don't have to think too hard about it, right?
And that's a real big point that you bring up, is that do everything again. There's always been this kind of underlying push of like rebuild your entire collection.
Yep.
And for some reason, I can't subscribe to that. Yeah. And I think that's where I have always kind of had an issue with classified, because it's the same shit. At least the first 2 waves weren't the same shit. And I'll give them credit for that, even though they took a beating from Joe fans. Like, I never understood that the duality of Joe fans want an exact translation of Shipwreck, but don't you already have Shipwreck? Like,
well, I think the classified fan is a Marvel Legends collector that wants, like, and this is me, I wanted military figures to go with my Marvel Legends.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted G.I. Joe. Valaverse, right?
That is exactly like me wanting G.I. Joe for that purpose is what brought me to Valaverse. Yeah. And for what I want from a military figure, Valaverse does better. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for the G.I. Joe stuff. I think it's cool. I have some nostalgia for some of the characters, the figures that I had as a kid, but it's not, I'm not like a diehard G.I. Joe guy. I just never have been.
Yeah. And I'm on the exact same page with you. The reason why I appreciated Valaverse is because it was new.
Yeah.
The story, like everything, New Colonia, the whole 9 yards, all the way down, brand new. It's a name that we know with Steel Brigade in there, but everything else is brand new, and I appreciated that effort, I guess. I would say, like, because he did build a world around it. Yeah, like, they got a vehicle coming out, and when I say world building, I just mean, like, the lore and the stories and the backstories and all of that stuff is completely different.
Yeah.
And then Sean says, fans of Classified want the vehicles. I don't disagree with that because they fund fast, and they got the Vamp coming out, and the ferrets coming and the Trouble Bubble, and then the fastest repaint in the world, which is the Python Patrol Trouble Bubble. But I think that Classified to me is like someone who's in a raft in the middle of the ocean. Like, you want water so bad, you're just willing to drink the fucking salt water. It's just like, I want it. Like, Tiger Force, Python Patrol, one freaking Slaughter's Marauder, and it's not even called Slaughter's Marauder. It's just like no consistency to it. It's just like throw it at the wall, and they're just going to buy it.
Let me ask you this: now that we're getting a Vamp as a Pulse exclusive,
man,
what did they call the Tiger Force Vamp? Was it the Tiger Paw or something? Or
yeah, I don't know, something like that. I didn't do Tiger Force.
Do you think that's going to come to Target just like the Python Patrol Trouble Bubble did?
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I bet that comes sooner than we think.
Yeah, they'll make the Tiger Patrol or Tiger Force version, and then they'll make the Stinger. Absolutely, the Cobra Stinger.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, let's move on. So Ryan, what do you got coming up?
Boy, everything's kind of up in the air. I might be doing a show this Wednesday, and the 4th, which is this coming Saturday, will be a 3 POA, but I don't think Bobby will be with us because he's working at Toy Show in Maryland. So nothing's set in stone right now. So just subscribe to the 3 POA if you haven't, and stay tuned. I do have a new video up today where I modified this Batmobile right here, this McFarlane Batmobile with the 2-seater cockpit. That video is up on 3POA if you want to check that out. Shout out to Suka, who's in the chat. He made the conversion kit.
Yeah,
it's on his Etsy store. I think it's on his Etsy store, or he sold out, or I'm not sure.
Suka, tell everybody where they can find that conversion kit, brother, before we call it a day. And that White Vegeta says Tiger Paw was the ferret, and it was the Tiger Sting that was the Vamp.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Got it.
Tiger Sting, Stinger.
Yep. Thank you, Vegeta.
And so your Wednesday stuff, since we kind of lost Jeremy, we all lost Jeremy. You've pretty much just been doing that, kind of flying solo or whatever comes to mind.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm just inviting on friends, to join me, and we'll talk about, whatever the hot topic is that week, or nothing at all. And I don't have any solid plans for this Wednesday, but I'm working on something. So very, very high likelihood that a show will happen. I just don't want to announce anything yet.
Very cool. Joe Fan 84 says, "Good evening, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Sorry I'm late." That's okay that you're late, but we're wrapping it up. I'm feeling good. Ryan, how you feeling?
Pretty good. Yes, thank you.
Whatever. I lost Skidmark a while ago. He just bailed. He didn't want to hang out with us anymore.
Took a shelf dive.
Well, I have Jeff Hicks on Wednesday. We're going to talk about ollies and all that stuff and distribution and blah, 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 blah. And why do fan channel, classified stuff hit ollies? And that's going to be a fun show. And immediately after that, I will be in the chat on your show. Good, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
Very cool.
Can't wait for that show. That's going to be good with you and Jeff.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. Hicks is such a cool dude.
He is.
Well, so we had a lot of people hanging out with us tonight. We still have a lot of people, and I thank you all for still being here with us, knowing that Ninja's on, knowing that Hella Dope is on, but I can't thank you guys enough. It means the world to me just to have awesome people hanging out in the chat and correcting us and giving us actually it's the tiger paw. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, truly thank you from the bottom of my heart, everybody, for hanging out with us. And Ryan, I know you are still working on a tagline, but I'm going to let you sign us out.
Thanks everyone. Keep it Chad.
Don't fuck. Yeah, is that what we're gonna do? All right, give it to me one more time.
Keep chadding it.
Have an awesome day.